Hi everybody and welcome to the KTPF Community Show, live in the hub at www.ktpf.co.uk. Hi, good evening. Online paranormal talk show brought to you in association with the UK Shadow Seekers and the Keeping the Paranormal Friendly community. Good evening, my name's Suzanne.
And I'm Steve, and she did it again.
Established since 2007, the KTPF is a dedicated, ongoing community which is not just there for when you're experiencing animosity from others. We welcome every paranormal investigator and enthusiast alike, including hobbyists, scientists and psychic mediums from around the globe, to join in as we cover this vast, fascinating subject, encouraging you to share information, advice and most importantly friendship. Remember, collaboration, not competition.
Talk Radio.
You hear us, we hear you.
Yeah, good evening ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another evening of chaos.
Have you seen what John just put?
Oh my god, it's going to be one of those shows. Yes,
Please keep all hands and feet inside the ride.
Until it has come to a full stop. It is going to be one of them shows. I don't know. We had problems with the sound 15 minutes before we went on air.
Problems with the camera.
Problems with the camera. Oh God, I don't know.
As usual, unplug everything, plug it all back in again and it works.
Yes. Good evening and welcome to another edition, as I said, of the KTPF Community Talk Show.
Did you have to think about that one?
Yeah, because I was just trying to think. Yeah, that's right. Community and talk show. So we hope you've been all right. Had a good week.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah. So let's just have a look here. We've got our numbers ready for later. I've got my battery just in case my mic goes. Okay. Well, as usual, just to let you know who we've got here with us tonight. Obviously, there's myself and there's Steve, and also we have Mr. Neil Munnerley. Good evening, Neil.
Hi guys.
How are you?
Not too bad.
Whispering. He seems a bit louder tonight. I don't know why. We also have a spectator tonight. We have Leanne over by the door.
You know why, don't you?
What?
Because he's actually got to answer questions tonight.
Yes.
Instead of sit there and listen to everybody else.
So he's got to work
always
tonight.
answering questions.
No. You're the quietest guest we have.
Yes, you are.
My laid back personality, that's what it is.
I do. I sit here and I think, right, do you want to ask them a question? And they go, no.
So you weren't supposed to say that.
See, I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Mind you, we've done that on Zone Unknown, haven't we?
We have, but I think Neil's trying to answer them psychically.
Yeah, perhaps that's what it is. But talking
idea.
about psychically and mediumistically and all stuff like that, later on we'll be talking about ectoplasm and all Victorian séances stuff.
Yes, we will. Yes,
so we've got that coming up later on. Simply Joe said your expert subject, ectoplasm.
That's better than vodka, Joe.
Just
you leave the vodka alone. I like my vodka.
So let's just see before
Go
we
on
start.
to the vodka jellies.
Before we start, I'm just going to say hello to those that are in the hub.
Go for it.
Okay. Well, we have first of all we have our relatives over there in very cold Norfolk, very snowy Norfolk. They can keep it. It's the new Outer Hebrides. I think it was right when I saw that 2012. I think the world does actually shift, and the North Pole is now in Norfolk. Okay.
I think John would agree with you there in a moment.
So we have.
What was it? -13 the other day in Norfolk.
Yeah. So, right. So we have John Ghost Rider down there in the Outer Hebrides, or the North Pole. We also have our friend over in Minnesota. That'd be the Reverend Doc Savage, otherwise known as MN Pig.
And he's just tried to run somebody over with a full truck.
Yes, apparently. So.
And he said it wasn't a mistake in the typing. The person he tried to run over actually moved.
Right. Okay. We also have my sister Vicky down there in Norfolk. She's there with John doing I assume she'll be doing her own computer, but either way she'll be listening in, and she's out there in the new North Pole as well. So, who else have we got? We got Cindy Joe. She's in, and already back chatting Neil.
Yep.
Yeah.
Apparently Nigel's choking on a bag of G-Lux Tropical Mix from Tesco.
Nothing new there, Nigel.
We're not that funny, are we? Okay, so yes, we've got Nigel there, and I'm sure Helen's around somewhere, or she will be.
Yeah. And Debs wants to know if ectoplasm is a code for something else.
Oh, well, we'll find out later on. We've also got Greenlee. He says, good evening, people. And I hope you saw the message that I posted on the Facebook page earlier, that as soon as we get some more news about the symposium, we will be letting you know. So we will be finding out from Yari. He will keep us posted, won't he?
Yeah, we should be able to give him some news next week.
Hopefully, yes. So, okay. Right, so let's see who else is there. We said Reiki Debs. Hello to you. Has Aggie come in yet? She'll probably be in a bit later. Right, okay, so I think I've got everybody. If I haven't, hello anyway.
I want to know what Nigel's done with Helen.
I don't know. Perhaps he's thrown her in the portal. Oh dear. Lee wants to know, is there any horse DNA in your mix there, Nigel?
Where's Helen?
So I think that's quite sad, actually, the news on that, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's quite bad. And also the sad news today about that helicopter going down in London. So that was quite surprised when I saw that as well. What? Apparently. Hey, I can't say that. Right.
She's probably right now.
Now, just to put you, I want to just send you to the right direction. I'll be doing the observations in a bit, and when I do, if you go on to the KTPF Facebook page, I've actually posted a load of links there which refer to tonight's observations for you to have a look for yourself, so you can give your point of view. Okay. Tonight's Haunted later on will be from Bristol. So, yes, we're going to have the jokes tonight about the horsing now, aren't we? Well, I've already decided I don't like Skippy burgers, I don't like snap burgers, rat burgers. I ain't even going to bother trying them.
Yes, I was going to say,
I
you've never had them.
I don't want snake, I don't want ostrich, I don't want anything.
Right. Snake's nice. Skippy burgers are nice.
I don't care.
And apparently ostriches as well, but it's a bit...
You've had a boar thing, haven't you, at York?
I've had a what?
Something to do with boar.
I had boar, yeah. I had wild boar. That's very nice.
Do you know what I hated? Yeah. I went to Ashton.
Yeah, it's quite fatty, but it keeps the meat moist.
There was this thing at Ashton to do with this Black Knight thing. Yeah, pageant.
Yeah, you probably know
right?
about that.
And they had this sort of like people there selling stuff and what have you. Now, I thought it was very sad because they've got this carvery on one side where they're doing these sandwiches.
Doing a pork,
and just the other
doing
side...
a pork roast, weren't they?
Yeah, they were doing a pork roast for sandwiches. And just on the other side of the aisle were 3 little piglets.
Thinking, where's Mum?
Alive.
Thinking, where's Mum?
And I thought,
Mum!
That wasn't nice. That wasn't nice. So, what did pork roast.
Yeah.
Yes, pork roast.
Yeah, Lee said Bison's nice as well.
Well, just to let you know, stop it, you're making me hungry again. Right, well, at 8:30, we will be contacting John Hanson, who's got a new book out. I thought I'd say that quick, because we keep going on about books of late. Talking about releases as well, if you also go on the Facebook page.
Why do I always end up yawning when I come on here?
I don't know. When you go onto the Facebook page, if you have a look in the files section, there's some more segments there. You might not have seen half of the stuff that's in there anyway. But there's also a film, book and TV news, which we will be trying to keep you up to date with all the latest paranormal genre that's coming up. There's also a useful information section. So there's that there. We've got ufology there, and also paranormal organisations. So add your organisation there as well. Just put your link in and a little bit about yourself. Okay, so please add yourself to that. Put your website in. It doesn't, as long as it's paranormal, that's all that matters. But just a few things we're doing. We will be updating our websites further on down the line because we will be going over to WordPress. Our webmaster wants us to go over to WordPress, so sooner or later we'll be going to be changing it a little, which is just the way it's got to go, I'm afraid. Ben Hanson, not Hanson. Ben Hanson is going to contact me with some dates for me to sort out for another interview. Okay? So ladies, beware.
That would be him with a sexy bum, according to the ladies.
Yes.
Right.
Tonight we have John Hanson.
Yes.
Not Hansen. So that's just please the ladies.
Sexy bum they were talking about on the website.
So, she's going to stare at him all night now. I have a picture here of the poster that I had, though. I just found out the low temperature for Monday will be 29 centigrades. Wow, Minnesota is going to be minus 29 on Monday centigrade.
Shit.
Definitely North Pole. No.
That's cold.
Yes. Right, okay, so let's get on with tonight's show. We haven't got long to do before we...
what have you got?
And we've got quite a few observations tonight, to be honest with you. So, are you ready for these? Firstly, if you want to go to the Facebook page, you will see the links that pertain to this. And I will mention the ones that are there. Shirley MacLaine says that Downton Abbey Castle is actually haunted. Shirley MacLaine evidently brought more than her acting skills across the pond when she joined the cast of Downton Abbey. MacLaine, the Oscar-winning actress who plays socialite Martha Levinson, the American mother of Elizabeth McGovern's Lady Cora, also brought her spirituality and told the New York Daily News that Highclere was haunted and the pictures came off the wall. MacLaine said the 400-year-old castle's supernatural energy might be explained by artifacts from the tomb of King Tut that had once been stored in the castle.
Yeah,
who knew? According to the New York Daily News, in the early 1900s, the estate's master, the 5th Earl of Carnarvon, bankrolled archaeologist Howard Carter's discovery of Tut's tomb and collected Egyptian antiquities throughout his life. Parts of the pharaoh's tomb was transferred to Highclere after the Earl's mysterious death from a mosquito bite, just months after the discovery of Tut's treasure just outside Cairo. His sudden death in Egypt sparked the legend of the mummy's curse. MacLaine's comment, they had the tomb of King Tut in the basement, so when you glue yourself to the TV's Sunday night for the 3rd season of the series, watch for falling pictures and other ghostly evidence.
Yeah, I think all this curse business is a bit too much.
The curse of Tut, yes, because they all ended up being quite explainable.
I mean, how does anybody die from a mosquito bite to start with? There has to be other contributors. Yeah. The only one that I do find is quite spooky is was it Lord Carnarvon when he died?
Yeah, about the dog.
He died in Egypt, and on the same night his dog died back home in England.
Yeah, that's what you call a faithful friend.
Yeah, oh yes.
Okay, Greater Manchester is a hotspot for UFOs, and leading paranormal expert claims. Okay, you may know this expert as well. And Greater Manchester Police have confirmed that there have been a number of reports of unexplained sightings of UFOs, unidentified flying objects, last year. In 2012, areas in Woodley, Atherton, Hume and up the road from us in Drawson were all reported to have UFO lighting up the skies, and Freedom of Information request made by a Freedom of Information request made by Mancunian Matters revealed. Descriptions include a full ring of lights, huge bright yellow, red and green lights with a huge beam. Gold and glowing lights were reported to the police in 2012 and were later listed as unexplained. Steve Mehra, dear old Steve, 45, chairman of the Manchester Association of Mappet and Investigators and Training, said UFOs have a tendency to gravitate towards certain facilities such as military and chemical sites and airports. Manchester has had a high level of UFO sightings over the years. Mr. Mehra, who has been fascinated by paranormal activity for 30 years, said his organisation had 57 direct reports of UFO sightings in 2012, with many more discussed online. there have also been 2 reports this year so far. I have seen hundreds of sightings over the years, said Mr. Mera, but many people don't come forward with UFO sightings through fear of being ridiculed. However, a recent survey by Mancunian Matters revealed that a significant proportion of... Excuse me.
I did tell you to put it on silent.
Yeah, you take that, Miss Ashley. Right, as I was saying, however, a recent review of Mancunian Matters revealed that a significant proportion of Mancunians do believe that there is something more out there. So you can check that one online as we speak. There are some pictures there for you to have a look at, so you can give us your opinion. Okay, so you can have a look and see it yourself. But mind you, saying that, many times after the show we've seen lights outside, haven't we, Neil?
Yeah, we've seen a few things over here, haven't we?
When you've gone out to have a cigarette.
When we've gone out the back door.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So, you know, but yeah, so maybe, and that's just up the road for us, so we would actually see Droslin's sightings from here, wouldn't we, really?
Probably from that direction, to be honest.
Because it was up like that way, wasn't it?
Well, it went across that direction anyway,
So, you know. Sorry about the phone call, that's our Ashley calling from hospital, so bless him. Right, science news reports that while film buffs have been arguing over the need to make The Hobbit into 3 different films, anthropologists have been busy debating the origins of real hobbits, whose remains were discovered in Indonesia over a decade ago. In 2003, researchers uncovered 18,000-year-old bones of a woman with a skull a third of the size of a human's on the island of Flores, Indonesia. They subsequently found more remains belonging to up to 9 similarly pint-sized prehistoric creatures, nicknamed after the J.R.R. Tolkien characters, that stood some 3.5 feet tall. A study published in Journal of Human Evolution last week showed hobbits' wrists were remarkably different from humans, leading credence to the theory that they were separate species from Homo sapiens. After studying the differences between the carpal bones of the Homo floresiensis remains discovered in 2004 and modern human and Neanderthal wrists, scientists say the hobbits weren't just abnormally small humans. So Frodo fans can delight in new evidence that hobbits did actually in fact belong to existence species. The Hobbit reached Indonesia about 1 million years ago and went extinct 17,000 years ago. Some researchers contend that rather than being a separate species, hobbits were deformed humans with a development disorder that would account for their small stature and brain. So that hobbits do exist, apparently, or they did do. What are you laughing about? Hobbits?
Do they have big hairy feet?
I don't know, he's not telling me this. Not telling me this at all.
Sorry, but
it gets worse.
I fail to believe that hobbits existed 1,000 years ago.
No, that's what they've decided to call them.
Well,
hobbits.
It'd probably be part of the pigmy tribe or something like that. It's an offshoot from them, but hobbits, come on.
Okay.
Sorry.
So, do you know what? What's that? Apart from the fact you're giving the scores, go on.
No, I was asking the scores for that.
Go on.
For those of you that know our Ashley, they've had him walking up and downstairs today, so he's getting closer. He's got a family meeting tomorrow, so you might get a date to go off.
Oh, fantastic. We're going to see him tomorrow anyway, aren't we?
So we'll be there for 2 because the meeting's at 3.
Oh, right.
We don't want to be intruding on that.
Okay, we'll pop in for an hour. Okay. Yeah. Right, back to the observations. This is Guernsey reported how ordinary...
They never heard any of that because you turned my mic off.
Oh, sorry. We'll come back to that. Go on, do you want to say that again?
Those of you that know our Ashley, they've had him walking up and downstairs today, so he could be getting a discharge date soon.
Right, sorry about that. I turned it down because he was on the phone. Right.
I turned mine off. So.
Sorry about that. I forgot you could turn it off. Right, this is Guernsey reported how ordinary holidaymaker Bill Cook photographed a spectre-like vessel on Wednesday the 19th of December as it headed towards the breakwater. Mr. Cook was on a drive around the island with his wife. It was a misty day and quite atmospheric, and my wife asked me to stop the car so she could take a picture of the lighthouse, said Mr. Cook. She was just using her point-and-shoot camera and said she could see something at sea. I got my camera out and zoomed in on it, and I could make out a small 3-mast vessel hugging the coast. We watched for a while, as it made its way to the breakwater and towards Guernsey, passing a Condor ferry on the way. Mr. Cook suggested it could be the Matthew, a replica of the 5th century ship that took John Cabot from Bristol to Northumberland. When I get back, I noticed it wasn't docked, so I thought it could be the one I saw. But doubts persist. Enquiries to the organisation that runs the Matthew for corporate and public trips have not yielded a response, and the vessel did not stop at Guernsey or Alderney, according to the harbour authorities. Was it the ghost of the famous Elizabethan ship that floundered off Alderney in 1592? So you could be checking them links as well. Having a look for yourself.
So I saw a picture today on there. It was in Mexico. They were taking people to swim in salt water, and they were swimming through some caves. And she took a picture.
Yeah.
And when she got home and had it developed, there were like black shapes hovering above the water, looking like people.
Wow.
They called them cave spirits.
Right, don't forget you can see these links on the Facebook page, and they are on the discussion area as well. Okay, in the actual forum that we have on this site. A travelling freak show. Does anyone remember watching the Circus of Horrors on the that reached the final of Britain's Got Talent in 2011? Well, apparently they have been forced to advertise a vacancy for a wolf boy or girl. Have you heard about this?
I've heard a little bit.
In order to comply with
I
Britain's...
think they found somebody, to be honest.
Yeah, well,
They did.
in order to comply with Britain's employment laws.
They didn't advertise it. They can't do it.
Well, apparently they did sign up a Jesus Chewy...
Chewbacca.
A Seavis Mexico, who had a medical condition that means hair grows all over the face to take part. But the procedures found that a new employment breaches a government law which requires the job to be advertised in the UK on websites so that British job seekers can apply if they wish. If no British wolf boy or girl can be found, then Jesus will get the job. Okay? You can't apply for it. I'm afraid you can't apply for it, Nigel, because according to the online advert, the successful candidate will earn up to £500 per week, and that all applicants must be genuinely hairy. People with beards or wearing masks are unacceptable. Sorry, my darling. It also adds that the duties to include all aspects... She's killing herself here. Duties to include all aspects... Duties include all aspects of working as a wolf person, and other circus skills will be an advantage. The Circus of Horrors plays 57 dates across the country over the coming months, and Dr. Hayes, the show's creator, said, "It's a strange state of affairs. We are pretty sure that there are not any wolf boys or girls in the UK, but we still have to advertise the job over here. The thing is, the applicant must be a genuine wolf boy." Okay, and Mr. Achives, who arrived in the UK last year and was thought to be the first wolf boy to visit the country in 30 years, has a rare condition called hypertrichosis. Okay, people with this condition, which is sometimes nicknamed werewolf syndrome, have a particular high level of body hair. It is understood he will play a part in the show if no subsequent applicants come through to the recruitment process. The job advert can be viewed by visiting direct.gov.uk and search for Wolf Boy. Can you imagine going to the job centre and saying, or phoning them up and saying, look, I've got to put a petition in.
Yeah, have you got a wolf boy?
Have you got a Wolf Boy?
Well, Nigel's applying for the job anyway, he says. But
Please say what questions would there be?
don't they also call that lycanthia? Or am I thinking of something else?
Lycanthropy or something. I can't remember. It's lichen, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, maybe.
Wolf.
Right. Anyone been to Disneyland? Has anyone been to Disneyland?
I wish.
Has anyone there been to Disneyland? The dark side of Disneyland is is it the happiest place on earth haunted?
Yes.
One could feel, and it wouldn't if it wasn't haunted, I wouldn't be telling you about it, would I?
No.
One could fill an encyclopedia with all the Disneyland hidden worlds and histories. Since 1955, over 600 million people have walked through Disneyland's magical gates, but legend has it that some of them never left. You see, Disneyland is said to be one of the most haunted areas in California. Guests and cast members alike have come forth with bizarre stories of the supernatural inside the walls of Disneyland. Amazing ghosts caught on Disneyland security cameras. You can watch it on the link that's been provided on the actual Facebook page or in the discussion area. And there's more on this as well in the discussion area to this actual piece. Anyone who's somewhat familiar with the park's history understands that beneath the magic is an even more fascinating network of underground tunnels filled with dark secrets and paranormal sightings. I wonder if that's our next place to go to after Romania. There has been over 10 reported deaths at Disneyland.
Do you really think Disneyland's going to shut down long enough for us to do an investigation?
There have been 10 reported deaths at Disneyland, including a drowning, an impaling and many other freakish accidents. Hi Aggie. Hi Helen, nice to see you.
Well,
we're just going through the observations.
If you think about it, there's not one place on this earth that at some point hasn't seen tragedy or death. So just about everywhere, in some way, shape or form,
right, I've just
has
got
some sort of paranormal
let me just quickly
activity.
get this through because we're going to ring John up in a sec.
Quite long today, isn't it?
Yes, I said there was quite a few. Right, ladies and gentlemen, it's official. Wells, there's a warning from Wells that witchcraft is thriving. Okay.
Yeah, we know a couple.
A church minister.
What, in Wales?
A church minister. This was actually published on the 31st of December, but it's been updated since. A church minister has revealed witchcraft is very much alive, as well in Welsh rural parishes, as he warns against becoming involved in the occult. Reverend Felix Ubel has spoken of how he has come across witches, the use of effigies, and the evil eye during his career in the Welsh countryside. He has detailed a number of spine-tingling tales after the latest figures of the 2011 census revealed 83 witches and 93 Satanists are living in Wales. That's Welsh Wales, just next door to England. Attached to England, that is. Not Wales next to the sea. Reverend Orbell.
That's a nice place, Wales next to the sea. I know.
Reverend Orbell, who is the minister of 5 congregational chapels in rural Carmarthenshire, even detailed how he had to call out an exorcist after a witch placed a curse on one of his parishioners. He said, "This is not a joke, and I warned people not to get involved in the occult." He was laughing here. I have been told that a coven of witches still meet locally. There is also a witch living in a nearby village who advertises her services in the local paper. Wow. In his autobiography, Reverend Albert, why would you put it in the local paper? Reverend Albert described how a curse on a parishioner had to be lifted by an exorcist after a puppet or effigy was made of a chapel member of his. He said, in folk magic, a witch and witchcraft, a puppet is a doll made to represent a person for casting spells on that person. He wrote this book called A Rebel's Story to act as a warning to people not to get entangled in the occult. The Carmarthen church minister, who has preached in Wales for over 20 years, also said he has battled a case of the evil eye, which left a mother and a young child needing hospital treatment. He said this is an ancient belief in the existence of malevolent power in the glance of some people, which is almost invariably provoked by envy and jealousy. What do you think to that, guys? I must admit, these stories, I tell you, they do sound funny, but for all we know, they could be true.
You actually got one of them little dolls that the cat wants.
Yes. Well, what we're going to do is, we're running a bit over. We're going to give John a ring.
Green leaves with me. I prefer the toffee poppets.
Toffee.
Do you remember poppets?
Yes, I do. Right, it's just after 8:30. I'm going to give John a ring. Oh, I did have one more observation, but it does actually pertain to UFOs, which says humans could make contact with alien life within 12 years with the aid of the world's largest radio telescope, a leading UFO expert has claimed. I might actually leave that one and ask John as well with that one. So I'm going to give him a call. So if you just bear with me while I give him a ring. And make sure that he's still with us.
Yes.
Not in that way, but if he's ready to talk to us, that is. So,
go.
See. It's alright, I just can't remember how to do redial on this blue thing. Hang on. There we go. It's a new thing, isn't it? A new
phone.
New phone.
You could have put the events on while you were doing it.
Never mind.
Never mind.
I'll do that later. It is just after, so. Hi, John. Are you okay? Right. Okay, give me a second while I just put you onto the air, okay? Right. Okie dokie. Right. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to John Hanson. For more than 65 years now, after Rothwell became a top location to ufology, and believers in UFO have come to be seen as a little weird. Well, John's going to talk to us about why he became
a little weird
from what people would think, and talk to us about his new book. Good evening, John.
Oh, good evening. Thank you very much for allowing me the opportunity to have a chat anyway.
That's okay. Just make sure everyone can hear you all right.
Right, can
okay.
they?
Right. Can everyone hear him okay? Can you just do a test for me, please, John?
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, so hopefully they can hear you okay.
Yeah, I got him.
Yeah, they're fine. Okay, well, good evening, John. Welcome back to the show.
And thank you very much.
Last time it was a bit tricky, wasn't it, when the volume wasn't very good. So hopefully we may have to recap on some stuff, I'm afraid. But
right.
First of all, can you explain about yourself? You were an ex-policeman and how you got into this sort of thing.
Right. Hiya. Hello.
Hello.
Now, I have to say, first of all, I was speaking to a gentleman some weeks ago about a particular UFO sighting, and he said to me, goodness gracious, Mr. Hanson, he said, that's a strange noise that I've just heard on the phone, a specific click. So I said to him, well, I'm glad you heard. And he said, well, you know something, he said, the only time I've ever heard that click is when I phoned my son who works for the MOD. Obviously they record everything going into the MOD, and you get that click. Now, I haven't got a clue about clicks and what they mean.
I just heard it, I must admit.
But that's all part of the course, I'm afraid.
Right, well, funny enough, we do have somebody who used to be in the forces, and he actually knows what the clicks are for.
Well, I get clicks all the time. I still get them to this day.
Right, okay.
Right, anyway, I was just, I'm sorry, that click sent me off into another tangent, but briefly, I was just about to retire from the police force and back in '95, and if anybody had said to me about UFOs or flying saucers, I would have thought they were crackpots. And my son, who's now a detective inspector at Coventry, was then a police constable, and he was sent to the scene of a UFO report following a number of calls to the police. And when he got there, he saw this saucer-shaped object with a field of energy around it hovering over some trees. And that's what raised my interest, and it took me some months, but I attracted a number of other people who'd seen it, including another sceptical lady in Oxfordshire, Wheatley, Oxfordshire, and she'd seen it. And that raised my curiosity, and I suppose quite obsessively I got involved in wanting to find out for myself whether there was anything in all of this, or could it be explained away. And over the many years I've discovered, of course, that they exist. They're out there, they've been here for a hell of a long time, but what they are and where they come from, of course, is another matter. So that's what I've been doing, and I amassed a huge collection of material, spent a lot of time in Wiltshire during the 1990s, visiting a number of places down there and all over the country, and then a few years ago I decided to put all this into book format, and we have 6 volumes published through Mr. John Downes, and the 7th volume, which is currently on sale on Amazon, is 78 to 79 and is 420 pages of UFO sightings and reports, a phenomenal number for 78 and 79. And currently I'm working on volume 8, which is 1980, which will be in colour, and will certainly contain recommendations from Colonel Holt about how he likes the books, and we're sort of doing this with Brenda Butler and a number of other people. So for me personally, I just want to get out there, but what people make of it is up to them. I just furnish them with the evidence, and that sounds too much like an ex-copper talking, but I suppose that's the crux of it. Yeah.
We have a question in the chat room for you. Lee's asking whereabouts in Wiltshire was it? He said he spent a few years at Battlesbury and Salisbury Plain.
Oh yes, well we spent a lot of nights at Adams Grave, Eastfield, the Barge Pub, which that's something else. When we popped down there the other day, and smashing place. A lot of the crappies got down there in the 1990s. We didn't spend too much time drinking there, but we met an awful number of people that had had experiences, and we've recorded everything to the best of our ability, talking to people over the years. And of course Wiltshire's quite a special place, and not forgetting Warminster, and of course that young Kevin Goodman, who's done the foreword for volume 6, which is 75 to 77. Personally, I just want to get all this stuff out there, because I'm not exactly a youngster anymore, and I'm rather worried I might forget all this stuff in my head. So it's best put on a book, and the book is published.
Yes, I can understand that. And there's quite an encyclopedia of them, of these sightings that you've had. I believe that even one of our listeners has added to your collection, Mr. Nigel Mortimer.
All right, yeah. Well, very well done.
So basically, if you think about it, people have been going on about Roswell and all these places, and even our very own Rendlesham. But it's a case of we've heard all about these. People want to hear about other places, don't they? And obviously your book covers all that.
Well, I can't. The biggest problem I have is keeping up to date with all of this stuff, because people ring me every few days and tell me about a sighting, and there were cases from 1899, the Aldborough platform UFO sighting by a lady in 1916. We tracked the lady's daughter down, and we got some letters and stuff from her that her mother had, and interesting case when this saucer-shaped object was seen with some what appeared to be occupants, certainly moving over Aldborough during 1916. But people are always ringing me up, and I did put an advert or an appeal for information in the National Association of Retired Police Officers, and I got some cracking reports back from an ex-police cadet all the way up to superintendent that had seen things, and very strange things, and admittedly one was a fireball, One was probably a meteorite, and others could be explained, but there was an awful lot that couldn't. I mean, these people were talking about flying discs travelling in formation in 1950, and to be honest, there is too much information, and that is the problem with this subject, because it really, to some degree, is overkill, because we are too rich in UFO imagery and UFO sightings, and as you quite rightly said, most people latch on to the 2 or 3 cases, but we found absolutely thousands of them, and certainly a number of them do relate to what appears to be landed objects with occupants, but so it's important to document it, you know.
Well, this is it, you know, as I say, most people do talk about them ones. Are there any that you can think of off the top of your head, out of all the research that you've taken, that really sticks out into your mind, that isn't the norm, if you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, yeah, well, I mean, there was the 79 case at London, the retired police officer, whom I've been in touch with over the years, his case is in volume 7, 79, and he was on the police helicopter, and this cigar-shaped object appeared, and they chased it, and were then told to stop chasing it. And when they landed, the officer was told to put a report in saying that they'd been chasing a model aircraft, which of course he hadn't. And that certainly was an interesting case, because you were able to talk to if you like, to the witness firsthand, and also back down to the people that could offer additional information. But another, a police sergeant contacted me a couple of weeks ago, and he was on duty in a London officer when a family came in and said they'd seen a mysterious green glow. Now, I accept that. For all I know, that might have been meteorite or a fireball landing in the nearby marshes. So the police went out and carried out a search, but found nothing. When the police sergeant checked he checked the station book to find out who to report this to, he was given a number, and this was Fylingdales in Yorkshire. And when he spoke to the officer there, they told him to send a motorcycle officer up the next morning all the way up from London to Fylingdales in Yorkshire with that report on board, which obviously shows you, if nothing else, that the way that the authorities, view such reports as this with great seriousness. But I am unfortunately spoilt for choice, because there are so many. I mean, there are so many, Suzanne. That's the problem.
Yes, I can understand that. And do you think there was one when we start the show, we normally do some observations within the paranormal and ufology and stuff like that, and there was one that I didn't get a chance to read about because obviously we were running over, but it concerns UFOs. There's a report that went out that I think Nick Pope, I don't know whether you've heard of him.
Sorry.
I think everybody's heard of Nick Pope, haven't we?
Now, is this one of these special phone lines where somebody rings me up? Yeah, I have heard. You'll have to spell his surname.
Right. Yeah, well, I found this observation. You'll have to excuse me, I am predominantly a ghost hunter.
That's fine.
So everything we do, we as I say, we're trying to bring other genres in, to light to other people.
I'm going to slap you.
Well, you know what I mean. We're not exactly paranormal investigators.
Thank you.
But on the ghost side, but they do say that sometimes UFOs and sightings can actually be contributed to the ghost side of it, and vice versa. They have said that there is a connection sometimes.
Oh, I'm sure there is, and the thing is, I always remember that Dr. J. Allen Hynek always felt at the end of his research period that, that we were not dealing with anything nuts and bolts. We were dealing with something of a paranormal nature. So I'm sure you're probably right, but a lot of people that get close to these objects can have experiences which happened afterwards relating to what they may view as something from the paranormal, rather than the UFO. But again, I think that they're so closely related Maybe in years to come there will be even a natural explanation for all of this. But you're right about that, about the paranormal and UFO mix.
Well, the article that I actually found was where he was saying that he reckons that contact with alien life will be within 12 years with the aid of the world's largest radio telescope. A leading UFO expert has claimed one of the key questions, whether extraterrestrial life exists, could be answered by 2024 with the development of the super-sized £1.3 billion radio telescope. This is what he's told the Daily Express back in December. Now, what do you think? Do you think we're ever going to get contact? Are we going to have contact with these people?
Well, to a great degree, we've had contact over the years with something or someone.
Really?
Well, of course we have, because people have often had, they've had experiences where they've had, eventually they've been regressed and said this and said that. I mean, I've met so many people who've had strange experiences because they got close to these objects, and a lot of people will regard that as certainly as a close encounter. Mm-hmm. Whether that has got anything to do, it may well be an Earth-based phenomenon, as opposed to what lies out there, if you like. But if you consider that, when the Americans landed on the moon and what they've said about what they witnessed on the moon, certainly it appears that UFOs are not bound by the constraints of Earth, and that they're on the moon as well. I'm not sure what that's got to do with, what you were saying about extraterrestrial life out there. And in a way, I hope that maybe they don't find us, really, because they may not like what we're going to find.
Well, this is it. We hear so many stories about abductions and stuff like that. Somewhere something's got to be true. My husband's got a question for you, Steve.
I have.
Worries me.
I hope you can hear me.
Oh, I can hear you, yes.
Yeah, that's brilliant. We seem to be getting a lot more sightings. Are we getting visited more often, or are we just getting more observant?
Probably getting more observant, I suppose. I mean, especially, with in this digital age, there's a lot more things being witnessed and seen. But I'm not sure. I don't know about the word visitors, because I've always felt that this phenomenon is certainly indigenous to our planet, and as I say, most people that have dabbled in it for many, many years, more than me, feel that is the case. And I mean, certainly I've been looking at the Victorian period, where the sightings from the Victorian and the Edwardian era are very similar to what is being witnessed in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s. I mean, the thing is, in the 1950s, people fully expected an invasion was imminent because of the amount of sightings, places like, in the States and in France, a hell of a lot that most people have forgotten about. And that's the problem. We forget about it. Most people aren't bothered by it, but what I would say, it's so important for people, I mean, like yourself, to become involved in these things, because I just think that's what we're all about, rather than just dismissing it. I've certainly found so much evidence in support of, as I say, of this phenomena that in the main is actually denied by authority as existing. And as I said before, if you download the MOD records, you'll find very little value in those MOD records. So why is there not all that information that's in my books or our books? Why is that not on MOD files? And there was a case in '71 when some girl guides, they were camping out at Droitwich. This is on the ATV news, and this thing hovered above the tents and.
Hold on a minute. Hold on. My battery's just died on the mic. 2 seconds. It comes back. Can you keep talking now?
Still picking me up?
Yeah, just about. I just got to change my battery. My battery.
So I can still talk?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, I hope I am talking to someone rather than...
Yes, you are.
Anyway,
There you are.
I contacted the MOD, crikey, it must be about 12 years ago, and they said that this file would be released, this 71 file would be released, but there's never been anything on it. And certainly, according to the guy, that there was an aircraft allegedly circling as well, trying to chase this object, intercept with the RAF trying to chase UFOs are not particularly uncommon at all. So there's something going on, and in the main, we're not told what it is.
Right. Okay. So we're back to the original mic now, so that's good.
Right, actually, just before, because I know you, the time goes so quick. But
Right.
I just mentioned, I was speaking to Brenda Butler today, and Brenda finally is seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Better be careful how I say that, actually. But Brenda is, and Philip Kinsella, they're in the process of hopefully completing their book called Sky Crash Through the Ages. So that's for people to look out for soon. And knowing Brenda and knowing how active she's been since 1980 with the events that have happened in the forest, I think it's going to be an exceptional book. So
Yeah.
yeah.
We'll have to look out for that one. Now, you have a partner in crime, don't you? Dawn.
Yes, she's one of these shy, retiring types. Actually, like me, I'm shy. No, I am, but well, I don't know. It doesn't matter. You probably like yourself. It doesn't matter how many talks you give.
Yeah.
You always feel slightly nervous, and I've done an awful lot. But at the end of the day, you've got no choice. You've got to talk about it. But Dawn is very shy and retiring. She does the proofreading and editing of the books and helps me in the investigation, and frightened to death to talk.
Right, and we can get, obviously, you say, how many books are actually out now? Is it 7 or 8?
No, there's 7 at the moment.
Right.
Volume 7 is 420 pages. And you see, the thing is, what you've got to understand, with a book that's over 300 pages, it costs, I mean, if you buy it off Amazon, of course, you don't have to pay the postage. But if I deliver a copy, it costs me second-class post. With a 320-page book, it costs me £1.90.
Yeah.
With the 420-page, it cost me £350. They classify it as a package, and I think that's very appropriate because it is a package.
Yeah.
But that's the problem. But we want this stuff to go out there. So the thing is, the great thing about Volume 7 and subsequent volumes, which will be in colour, we do an update at the back of the book. We do all sorts of things with it, a scrapbook at the back, and so we can update people, and we put a lot more images into it. So we like to give people value for money, but we might have to charge a slight bit for the postage for the book. So if anybody does want a book off me, I sign it up and send it to them, and they'll find me on the internet. But it's just important to record it, because it isn't about the events now, it's about the events in 50 years. And sadly, I don't think I'll be doing the Haunted Skies 100th edition in 50 years' time, but
it's a shame.
you might be.
Right, Steve's got another question for you.
Right, okay.
Yeah, John, do you think that, for the want of a better word, aliens are actually living among us at the present time?
Well, it's been, there are many people that have claimed that, and I suppose it wouldn't surprise me, nothing would surprise me, because there was a time when the prospect of the existence of UFOs, I would have found impossible to believe, and the things that happen to people when they get too close to them, which are generally referred to as alien abduction, I can't be sure on that, but there's some pretty weird stuff happens to them, and but I mean, who knows? It may be. People have claimed to be aliens, and I know that in Brenda's book there was a guy who claimed to be a reptilian, and I can tell you that he actually, I'm not going to tell you who he was taken to, but he was escorted to see somebody in London, a prominent politician, and he apparently proved that he was a reptilian to that politician. But I don't know. That's the simple thing. I don't. Nothing would surprise me in this particular business.
Yeah, because some people, they do believe in the Men in Black theory that you don't die, you just go home.
Right.
A bit like, remember Escape from Witch Mountain, where they all went and got taken up?
It sounds like a great idea to me.
Not that other mountain, was it?
I don't think so. Yeah, but that was, it is a nice thought though, isn't it, that maybe you are taken back home?
Well, I think that ultimately, I mean, I don't know what happens after death, but it may be nothing like that what we believe. But
yeah,
sometimes I wonder what the purpose of all this is, because there's so much pleasure and there's so much tragedy in life, and it seems weird that you need both.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's far more to our existence than we can perhaps ever understand. You're the lady that deals with the people with the afterlife.
Yes.
Right. Well, I'm not contacting you when I pass on.
That's okay.
Oh, go on.
You can tell us more.
Right, yeah.
You can tell us whether it is actually true or not.
Right. Well, I'll invite you to come with me.
Oh, thanks, John. Well, I know for a fact that you were at the Weird Weekend back in 2010 with John Downs.
I was, yeah.
Yeah. Good friend of ours, mutual friend. Are you planning on going back down there at all? Is there any other conferences that you've got coming up?
In a nutshell, no, really, because I did the Before conference, the 60th one, last year, and I'm always available, but unfortunately, I have so much time. Publishing the books now demands so much time off me, and what I do as I go along, as I said to you, we're just doing January to November. November's actually finished, but that's 200 pages, January to November of 1980, with colour illustrations. And December's a big lump, shall we say. And I've been in regular contact with Colonel Holt over the years and many others. And I can't offer an explanation as to what it was that happened at Rendlesham Forest, but some strange things happened afterwards, and of course I did film an object over the forest on the 27th of December 2000, and I just feel that the stuff should be accurately recorded, and that doesn't mean to say I don't make mistakes, because I do.
Yeah.
Most people can make mistakes, but I just think it's important to record it as accurately as you can, rather than the way that some books are written, shall we say. And Brenda Butler is an authority. She's been doing it for donkey's years, and it's time her book was out.
Right. So would it be fair if I was to say to you, or would it be okay to pass your name on to somebody who would be looking for somebody to do a conference? Maybe in 2014.
Oh yes, no problem.
Oh, that would be good then.
Yeah.
I have a question for you from the people in the chat
the audience.
Yes. Nigel would like to know.
Yeah.
What are your views on the Earth-like theory for UFOs?
Earth-like theory.
Yes. Earth-like theory.
What you mean? You talking about the distance involved?
I assume so. He said UFOs caused by piezoelectric effects.
Oh yeah. Well, of course, those things are quite natural. Earth-like, Paul Devereaux stuff, yeah, and Persinger. I have cases involving what appears to be Earth-like. That's it's not really a good theory. I think it's more or less a proven fact, particularly when just before an earthquake happens. Many people saw lights at Berwyn Mountains just before that earthquake and explosion took place, and yes, that's all part of the rich tapestry, if you like, of the explanations for UFOs. But I always felt that when I first started this, that I would find an explanation for sort of 90% of it, but it seems to be the way around. I've spoken to so many people that have seen structured objects that surely aren't classified as normal things that most people see on an everyday basis. So, you know, as I said so many times before, there's something pretty weird out there, and but is the weird the norm? That's the problem, isn't it? We tend to look upon it as the weird, but isn't that the norm?
Well, this is it. One thing I would like to ask you is, what happens after Volume 8? Is it a case of you wait for people to contact you and tell you more stories, or
No stories?
Well, you know, what I mean is, how do you actually get your research? Do people contact you with what they find?
Well, it's an ongoing, sort of a rolling road of information, but we have, as I said to you, we have all the information from 1995, 1996 up to 1999. We have all that. It just frustrates us that we have to wait
Right.
to come up to it. But if anything else transpires or people tell us, we just slot it in.
Yeah.
And then you know, it'll be revealed. So
Right.
if anybody can help us with anything, you know. And by the way, just before I go, because I sense time is pending, but we're still looking. Anybody wants to do any illustrations for us, you know, would be more than welcome. We do have illustrators, but you can imagine after 8 books, coming up to the eight books, and an awful lot of illustration, and people have been so helpful, and we don't like to put too much pressure on individual illustrators. So if anybody can help, they're more than welcome.
Right. I'm going to ask Neil a question here. Just basically, Neil, you were in the forces, so why do the forces keep it covered? Why are they
the
not?
MOD will make various copies of reports.
Right.
And obviously, one set of reports will go to the public, one set of reports you'll never ever see.
Yeah.
Why?
That's correct.
Why do you think?
Because it would scare everyone when it caused a panic?
Oh yeah. Well, you're not
Do you
going to tell
think so?
everybody, you know. It's something that I believe in, you know, too much, too soon would do a lot of damage, you know.
Right.
And it would cause panic, it would cause a lot of things going on around the world that, you know, you wouldn't be able to control, you know, and things would start deteriorating very, very quickly.
Right, okay. And Lise wants to know, do you believe there is an Area 51, and is there a similar facility in the UK?
Well, I've been to, no, I can't say. People that say they've been to Area 51 are obviously liars, because I think if anybody went to Area 51, they wouldn't be telling other people they've been there, because you can't get there, well, not as a civilian. But I've been, I've been to Nevada and been to the post box and had a drive round, and one of the most fantastic places I've ever been to was the Alien Inn at Rachel, and met some of the sort of UFO buffs there. But Rachel itself is contrary to what a lot of people think. It's just about 20 sort of trailers and a few caravans, and then there's the little Alien Inn, and I was quite shocked to find it, because I imagined it was a small town. But yeah, I mean, there's so many stories that have come out from that. And hello, you got that one then?
Yes.
Yeah. You still there?
Yep, still here.
They must be doing it on purpose. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I try to toe the line with all of this stuff, and
Yeah, just say what you need to say.
well, that's
Yeah.
right. But there certainly has been intimidation with UFO witnesses, and there has been visits from so-called Men in Black. I have lots of cases involving them, and I used to think that the Men in Black were government agents, or but now I'm not so sure. I think some of them perhaps aren't, but that's what they say the chosen subject's all about. It's so varied and so bizarre and so ridiculous, it shouldn't happen. The chilling part is that it does.
Yeah. So, as I say, you were an ex-police officer, or you are an ex-police officer, sorry. So was this all started up when you was actually in the police force?
Yes, as I said, when I retired, I'd I was interested. I used to go out digging for bottles. Quite digging for bottles when I retired. I thought I'd have a nice, pleasant retirement, and I mean, I had a narrowboat then, so
Yeah.
that's what I was going to do, write a book about bottles and things on the side of the canal. And now for the last, 18 years, I've not even had the chance to go on the canal or dig for bottles. But that's, the thing is, when you get involved in this, there's so many offshoots, archaeological offshoots and historical offshoots, and the stories that people tell you, not necessarily about UFOs, but some of the things they've experienced is really quite humbling. But these are normal people. They're not crackpots, they're not cranks, and they don't embellish, they just tell it how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen your books on Amazon, I think it is, but you can get it on your blog, can't you? What was the blog again?
Well, yeah, it's www.hauntedskies.com. Or just if I'll give you my number, it's easy. It's 0121 445 0340. If anybody wants to ring me up, and I can get them a book and send it to them, whatever they want to do.
Okay. And how much will these books cost?
They're $14.99.
Right. Okay. Well, I wish you every success with your forthcoming.
Thank you.
And the one that you've not long released, I believe. And
I'll let you know about the next one. And thank you for your sense of humour, because if you haven't got a sense of humour, they'll destroy you.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's fine. Obviously, in my opinion, we can't just be the only people in this galaxy.
I'm certainly not.
Whether it be interdimensional or whatever, there's got to be other people out there.
They are here, and they've been here for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
No, thank you for allowing me the opportunity, Sue.
That's okay. Best wishes to Dawn.
I will.
And obviously, any information you send to us, we'll plug it for you.
All right, and thank you.
Cheers. Good night.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye. Well, that was John Hanson.
And can I just say to the people that keep clicking on our phone, we don't care if you're listening, we're still going to talk about it.
I don't know if it's our phone or his phone. He said it was his phone. But be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, there are a lot of people that deal with these genres, whether it be UFOs, cryptozoologies, anything like that. And to have an encyclopedia going on for 8 volumes coming up, I would say,
that's a lot of information.
It's a lot of information, dating from way back when, And if you go onto his website, if you didn't catch his website, I'll just get it for you and pop it onto the... it is actually on the... it should be somewhere here. 2 seconds. I'll just get it for you and put it onto the chat room. It's Haunted Skies project. It's the brainchild of John Hanson and Dawn Holloway, who for the past 15 years have been collecting material for a multi-volume encyclopedia of British UFOs from 1940 to present day. And as I say, you can find out about that. I'll just copy and paste that into the chat room for you. So if anyone wants to go and have a look, and as you can say, if you want, you can get his book. So Big Volume 8 includes sorry, let me just go back. I did, because I misread it actually on his website. I thought it was saying that Volume 8 was out now. So let me just check. If you go to Film, Books and TV News, which is one of the new files in the Facebook one, it says that Volume 8 includes the UFO sightings witnessed by Wing Commander Eric Cox, COX, in 1967, so amongst other things, but and it is in colour, so maybe it'd be worth includes Nigel and it includes Nigel. So yeah, so that was UFO. So we've covered that for this first part of the year. I'm sure we'll cover it again somewhere along the line.
I'm sure we'll have somebody else come in and tell us
whether
about
it be John, Mark Rosney or Tony Toppin or...
haven't we contacted the guy from Warminster?
I beg your pardon? Warminster?
Yes.
That's Dad's army?
No.
Well, what have I missed? Hello, what have I missed? What are you on about?
Not just Dad's army.
What Warminster?
Wait, sorry, Minister. Anyway, it was quite big in the 70s. There was loads of sightings all around this one town, and there's a book about it, and one guy in particular has been pretty well involved with it all the way through.
Oh well, I'll have to have a look at that. I know next week we have Richard Thomas on, who's written a book called Paranews. So more about him in a minute at the end of the show. But sorry, Warmington-on-Sea. Don't mind me. It's because Clive Dunn died. I've forgotten about it now. But what we're going to do is we're going to go on to the paranormal events for you, if I can find them. So bear with me. Just got to find it on this mini disc. So what I can say is,
we've got all the news right here. Don't go away.
when we find them.
13.
13, is it? Oh, we didn't move it. Paranormal for you out. 12. Fed up of wading through the activities and events that other advertisers include? Find just what you're looking for at paranormaleventsforyou.com, your one-stop paranormal directory.
On the 16th of 2nd, Prestige Paranormal are going to the Avenue House in Finchley. March now, and on the 2nd, DI Paranormal after the Yorkshire Air Museum in Doncaster. Also on the 2nd, the haunting team are going to Alton Towers in Alton. On the 8th of the 3rd, the Prestige Paranormal are doing a ghost hunt dinner, B&B and history tour at Craigienoss in Powys. On the 16th of the 3rd, you can do the Pendle Hill experience with DI Paranormal UK at Pendle Hill in Sapton.
So check out the one-stop paranormal directory for more investigations and events, available now. Paranormaleventsforyou.com also offers banner advertising for only £10 per year. See our website for more details. Paranormaleventsforyou.com, your one-stop paranormal directory. Well, welcome back. I thought we said Paris. We thought we said Paris, but it wasn't. It was Powys.
Powys in Wales.
In Wales. Yes, Welsh Wales.
Craigienoss.
I wish. So yeah, it does.
Dinner and BV.
It did. So, right, ladies and gentlemen.
Have you been to Craigienoss?
No.
Well, that ends that conversation.
That was very
I'm
quick
not
ending,
been-
that wasn't it?
I'm not been to Craigienoss. I'll see
Been to
them.
Powys and
Powys.
Paris.
And Paris.
And Paris.
So-
I Paris. Can't stand the paper.
Yaki da bonjour.
Although short and sweet, I hope that you did actually enjoy that conversation about UFOs. But like you say, Neil, they don't publish all of them, do they?
No, not at all.
You know,
Not at all.
I think even Steve Mera, he always said that it would cause it would cause like outcry, you know what I mean, panic
It
and
would.
stuff.
It
And,
would. I mean,
they're coming.
there's lots of things. There's lots of things that should be not for the public eye.
Yeah.
But people like Pope have been drip feeding this stuff for years.
Oh, I know. So.
Well, yeah, but he can only drip. Yeah, but he can only drip feed what he sees
Oh, what he's given.
or what he's given.
Given the
You
drip
know.
feed.
But it's
Yeah, this is it. But you missed the show last week. Apparently, we've got Bigfoot over here.
all right.
His cousin
Okay.
in Cannock Chase.
Yeah, I've been to Cannock Chase a few times.
Yeah. So.
Not dogging like, but I know.
Well, they got hellhounds.
I do know it goes on there.
They do have hellhounds. I don't know about anything else. And I don't know whether you American viewers know what dogging is. But
Sorry,
I will not explain.
Cannock Chase is very, very famous for dogging. But that's not the reason why I went.
Going there again.
No, we do not be going there again.
I actually went in the daytime when it was sunny and. Nothing,
If there's any children listening, it's called walking the dog.
How do you know?
Right. Anyway, is that like rabbiting?
Swiftly moving on.
Is that like rabbiting? Yeah, you brought the subject up.
Yeah, it's a bit like rabbiting, but without the high-powered torches.
No. Come on, family show. Well, it's not. It's
I
an
use
adult
night
show.
vision. No, I don't know.
It is an adult show.
This is getting worse now, Neil.
Talking about night vision.
Yes.
Talking about not Nigel. Sorry, that's because you just posted. Talking about night vision and talking about Ben Hanson, he's actually opened up his own website with Nightscope stuff. If you go into, here we go again. If you go into the file section or into the photo section of the KTPF Community Talk Show group, you will find all of our past guests. And if you find the one with Ben Hanson on, you'll see his link there on this as well. So, because what we're going to do from now on, if we find out anything from our past viewers, we're going to have it on there, whether it be a new book or whatever, or anything new that's coming up, so that you'll know exactly what's happening with our past guests. Okay, so I'm going to be nosy. All right. Now then, so we've had a word with John Hanson, and as I said, more than 65 years after Roswell became the top location of ufology, and believers of UFOs have come to see this is a little weird. We joke about the probes of little green men brushing off stories of close encounters as made up. We may want to believe, but most of us go through our lives safe in the knowledge that we're the sane ones, okay? And the people who think aliens are visiting Earth are clearly silly, misguided and delusional, some people think. So, but as I say, it's all down to your own belief. But then again, if you believe in ghosts, if you believe in fairies, if you believe in portals, why can't you believe in UFOs? And why can't you believe in animals that have not been found yet? Right, before we go on to our next subject, I've got a question for you all, okay? Now, the question was put to me on our forum. Somebody gave us a question and asked a very good question, actually. If science, I'm going to put it through to you as well, if science decided ghosts and spirits existed and they proved it, okay, are you ready here for the serious bit? Alright, so if science decides ghosts and spirits existed and they proved it, what would you call yourself? As you know, paranormal means outside or beyond the normal. So what would we be called? Now they put normal paranormal, normal investigators. I thought preternatural because it's there, but you know, or whatever it was. So come on, guys. Come on, guys. I want your ideas.
You'd actually just be an investigator.
Yeah, but of what?
Just an investigator.
Just an investigator.
Because you're just investigating something that's real, so you're an investigator.
So you'd just be an investigator?
Well, yeah, of course.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
Right, well, I said
if it was proved that it was real.
God, Steve's not looked in here for a while. I've just gone into Steve's forum in his name and he's not looked at it for a while, but anyway. What was it? It came up somewhere, one of these questions. But, as I say, I did... I can't find it now, but I put preternatural. Because I thought that would be good. Because it means, I'll tell you what it means when I find it. She says. So let me just see where I am. Search users post.
Joe says spirit hunter.
Spirit hunter. There, yeah.
So abnormal hunters.
Abnormal? Are you abnormal?
Or in Nigel's case, portal hunters.
Portal hunters.
Portal porters.
Eh? Right, I think that was it there. No. Yes, it was. Right, I said preternatural because preter is the Latin for past, beyond. So preternatural literally means beyond natural or beyond what is natural. But I suppose it would be natural if it was found.
If it was found and it was proven real, which it is, then...
Nigel said idiots. Dimension travellers, I like that.
John says paranormal archaeologists.
That'd be good. Portal porters.
We are investigations.
Don't like simply Joe's.
Doggers.
We are in
Ghost
investigations
spotters.
of past events.
Train spotters.
Ghost spotters.
But if you covered the whole thing, though, you know what I mean? It was. Because paranormal, really, investigators are supposed to cover the whole genre, isn't it?
Are you a paranormal investigator or are you a ghost hunter? Because
I'm a paranormal
literally
investigator.
half an hour ago you used ghost hunter.
Only because I wanted to explain
You've been telling me off.
John.
You've been telling me off for
No.
about 2 years now for using
Excuse me.
that line.
We paranormal investigators.
So can we get this right?
Okay.
While we're on air.
Yes, I only use the word ghost hunter to describe it to a ufologist. I am not a ghost hunter because I do not hunt ghosts. Yeah. I'm a paranormal investigator because I investigate the possibility of there being paranormal activity at a certain venue. Okay?
Yep.
But when I'm talking to somebody who's on another genre, and when you call paranormal investigators, it means ufology, ghost hunting, everything.
So when I talk to people who've never been in the paranormal before and I call it ghost hunting, why do you tell me off?
Because we're trying to, technically I'm, and quite a few scientists, or rather investigators I should say, are trying to get away from the word ghost hunting because it's just a word that's come up from the media with the likes of Ghost, Most Haunted and everything like that, and it's not a very nice word. It's a bit like deer hunting.
Okay, well,
I don't know what anybody else thinks,
I'll
but
let you off this
that's
once.
my opinion.
Okay.
Because as far as I'm concerned, we don't hunt ghosts. We don't go in there hunting it.
Truth
Do
seekers.
we? Truth seeker sounds good. So, scientist of the invisible. Rubbish. Eh? What?
Scientists,
Okay.
scientists of the invisible, says Andy.
Well, that's my theory.
Well, I'm sorry,
anyway.
but I hunt ghosts. You know, end of story. So
So you hunt them?
I do hunt them.
Why do you hunt them?
Because I like to know where they are, where they're
You search
living,
for
where
ghosts.
Oh,
they
you search.
preside. No,
You
I
don't
hunt.
Why do you, well,
I hunt
okay,
because I like to
okay.
hunt them out. I like to find out where they are,
Okay.
where their
Why
energy is coming
hunt?
from.
But
No, hold on.
yeah,
Why
but
hunt? What does the word
hunting indicates that you're out to kill them,
Yes.
No,
and
Deer
that's
hunting.
not
no.
the
If
case.
you look up the word hunt, it doesn't mean you will search something out and kill it.
No, I know.
But it does it in the modern
in
genre.
the modern genre, it
Doesn't.
means hunt.
It doesn't.
If you're going to hunt
Well,
something,
okay,
you're
we'll put it
gonna-
this way then. There are certain spirits that I do hunt and kill.
Okay.
But that's only in the black arts, which we'll be talking about soon anyway.
You do realise this is going out on YouTube.
I don't care. I don't care. It's 2013. It's a new year. Yay! Let's get anarchy on the radio.
Reiki Dev said, catch it, kill it, cook it.
Exactly. Can't cook, won't cook.
Come dine with me.
And if you cook up and put a spirit on my plate, I'm not going to be happy.
No, but seriously, I do feel the word ghost hunting is very crude. It's a crude way of saying it. But each to their own.
Each to their own.
Each to their own. Right, okay. But on the subject of this sort of thing, good evening, young lady. How are you?
Here comes the woos.
Dog's just come in, said hello. So Roxy's here.
Roxy the hussy.
Okay, so
Come home with me.
come haunt with me. Yeah, like that. Right, so we're going to bring Neil into this subject now because it was suggested that we talked about ectoplasm. Now, I don't know whether John's still... Oh, he is still there. Revolution, he says. He popped in after all this time and goes, revolution.
We're having a psychic revolution.
Right, okay, this was a subject that was put to us to talk about ectoplasm, but I've actually widened the topic, okay? So if you've just joined us, we are mad on here, and it's all part of the fun, isn't it, really?
Speak for yourself, sir.
Like Doc Savage said earlier, what was it? Beware, hold on to your seats or something. He said.
Yeah, keep your hands in the ride. All times.
Yeah, keep your hands and feet inside the ride at all times until it stops.
Oh dear. Well, anyway, ectoplasm, spirit cabinets, Ouija boards, table tipping, trance mediums was hugely popular in the spiritualist movement during the Pharaoh.
Can I just ask one question before we move on here?
Oh.
Where the hell did Mr. Mahogany come from?
I don't know. I haven't got a clue.
Nigel, can you answer that one, please?
Nigel? Right, just to let you know, we have got Skype.
Right, okay. Here we
Fake
go.
tan.
Fake
Right.
tan.
We have got Skype, remember, and we have the phone is available now to call. All right. If you would like to call us, okay, Then the phone number is 0844 414 3982. If you'd like to Skype us, it's ktpf.paranormalshow.
It's all coming out now, isn't it?
I know.
Look, fake tan,
Hair
dye, anything else?
I think Nigel's been drinking. I haven't got a clue, Neil, he says. So, but anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, you wanted to know, you shouldn't have asked. But don't forget, you can talk to us. Oh, by the way, Reiki Dev says you do look smart tonight.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, Debs.
Okay. Okay, so...
Hang on a minute.
Have you had a tummy tuck? No, he's
Tummy
lost
tuck?
weight!
How dare you? I go to the gym and do it properly.
Yes. Right, can we get onto this subject now?
Yes.
Yeah, can I have one?
We're bating breath. What? A tummy tuck?
tuck.
Have a word with the doctor.
I've been taking some dodgy pills. Doggy pills.
Yes, we have. We have been seeing you take the pills.
They're not pills.
Why have you been on
do
there?
you know what? Honestly, you have to prove everything in this game, don't you? Look, here we go. Mints. Not Viagra, like you said. Although my neck is a bit stiff, mine.
NPM. Supplier of
Bob Martins.
Alvalac.
Overlap.
Yes. Alvalac. Alvalac is a synthetic bone regrowth material that I used to deal with about a year ago. Anyway, we're not on that subject. What are you doing?
Started it. You started it.
Anyone want to know about synthetic bone regrowth?
No,
It's quite an interesting subject.
No.
It's a very interesting subject.
Do they come in a glass or plastic bottle? There you go. I think that goes back to the other one. Right, well anyway, let's get on to this subject. Okay, we've got quite a lot to do before the end of the show.
Bone growth.
Joe, stop it.
Ectoplasm.
Yes.
Okay, spirit cabinets,
Yes.
Ouija boards,
Yes.
table tipping,
Yes.
trance mediums
Yes.
were all hugely popular in the spiritualist movement during Victorian times.
Yes.
Okay, seance. I've got a list of seance tools here. Okay, including dactylomancy. You don't know what that is, do you?
I haven't got a clue what that is.
No, have I.
Well, let's see whether anybody
That's
else
why
knows what it is without googling. Okay.
They'll all
Anyway.
Google. They're all going to Google, aren't they? Look.
Oh, I don't know.
I bet they're all Googling Alvalac now, looking what bone regrowth is.
As I was saying, right.
And it's got nothing to do with length. Joe.
As we were saying, God, you won't get this on City Talk, would you? I don't know. Bring back Roy Basnett.
Oh, what?
You should see some of these pics. I beg your pardon.
You should see some of these posts.
Pics, it said there. I know.
No,
Oh, I know. I've seen a couple of them.
No, Lee's friend was in hospital after eating Tesco's burgers, but he's in a stable condition. He says.
What pics has
God.
Joe seen?
Oh, I don't know. What pics are you seeing?
What are you looking at, Joe?
We call it the cheese wheel of love. Are you enjoying the show over there in Minnesota, John? Oh dear, and you wanted us to go on your friend's network. I don't think they would fit
No,
in.
Joe. It's not bone growth. You're looking at some, I don't know, XXX
See, I can do
size.
what I want on my own
whatever.
show.
You're looking at the wrong page, Joe.
My God.
Don't you agree, John?
Right, let's forget that at the moment.
Yes.
It's bone regrowth.
Right, Neil.
I don't
Yes.
know. Right, Neil, so I've got a whole list.
First basic, so Sue's got a long list, but to get us off started,
Yes.
what is ectoplasm?
Right, ectoplasm. Okay, and while we're on the dirty subject, and this is not me saying this, by the way. This is my guide description today, and I did re-question it. But the only way to describe ectoplasm is it is a psychically charged KY jelly.
Hey?
It's the only way you can describe it. It's basically
Yes,
it's a
Roxy, I
lubricant.
agree.
It's a lubricant that physical entities use to come through to our plane, which is psychically charged with spiritual energy. So it is basically like an electrically charged KY jelly.
Andy
Seeing as we're
Mercer.
on the pornographic issue with Joe.
Andy Mercer just went, what? He just went, I think he must have just gone away, got a coffee, come back and went, what the hell?
Well, Deb's just went bone growth, dogging, KY jelly, all in one night.
Yes, I'm back on the show, folks. Let's keep it real.
Right.
Does it warm up if you blow it?
It must be all this testosterone I'm getting at the gym.
Right, back
Anyway.
to the subject.
Right, go on with your list.
Right, okay.
Yes.
We can get on with
So-
some questions.
Right,
and stuff.
ectoplasm. We're going back to Victorian times, and this is where
Yeah.
people are saying, "Oh, it's faked,and there's no such
you
thing as
see-
ectoplasm and stuff like." Right, back in Victorian times, okay, they were only just going into. I mean, if you can imagine nowadays, right?
Yeah.
People who are taking pictures and they want to fake it because they want to make themselves famous, or they want to
Photoshop.
look good, or Photoshop.
Yeah.
Okay, you go back to Victorian period where none of that existed, because obviously we didn't have the internet and everything.
No.
Okay. That was their version of Photoshop. Okay, so they'd stick things up the nose, they'd stick things in the mouth, like silk handkerchiefs with wiring that would make it look like it's coming out of the mouth and things like that, and take photographs of this. Okay, and they would say, "Oh, that's ectoplasm."
Yeah.
Okay, ectoplasm is a very it's a clear liquid. I mean, I've seen ectoplasm quite a few times when I was dealing with the exorcism side of things, and when you're dealing with the darker energies and stuff like that, ectoplasm does come around a lot because it is like a lubricant that physical entities will use to come into this plane. Okay, so to look at ectoplasm, it does look like snot. Basically, it is like a clear jelly substance, and the only way you can describe it is like a spiritually charged KY jelly.
Right, okay. So, I don't want to do that just in case it takes me off the show. But let me just, let me go here. Just in case. I don't want to click on that link that Joe's just put on, in case it takes me away from where I need to be. But the thing is, when you see it in the pictures, yeah, it looks like
that.
It looks like
Yes.
yeah, it
Yeah.
looks like
If you look at the old Victorian photographs,
the old lacy kind of.
well, things like neck curtains,
Yeah.
that was one of the things that was mentioned last week.
Yeah, that was me, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, that picture looks more like bloody spaghetti.
You know, it's.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with putting a wedding veil in your mouth, is there? And taking a photograph,
yeah,
because
it's a bit like not mediums, magicians.
Yeah.
You know, when you see a magician, he's pulling out the scarves that
Yeah.
are all knotted together and stuff like that. It makes you wonder whether it's all like that or not. But are you saying you've actually seen the actual
I've seen
stuff?
ectoplasm quite a few times. Yeah.
And it's not like
it's-
Ghostbusters where it's all.
No, not at all. Not
Slimer.
at all. No, and it's it does. There is a residue. It doesn't come squirting out the mouth or the nose, or it's not that case.
What are we actually saying? Are you saying that this is actually some stuff that a spirit brings forward, or is it some sort of mucus that's
Everything-
coming from your body?
Right, most things has got moisture in.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's the same effect. Okay, spiritual energy will only come through either electricity or through water. They're the two biggest forms of energy that a spirit will gain power from. Okay,
Right.
so the ectoplasm is a mixture of fluid and it's a bit like electrolyte, but it's a mixture of fluid and energy. Okay, now for a physical entity to actually come into this plane, it's got to have something that's living to come into first. It can't just come into our plane and
Yeah.
come in as a physical entity. It's got to have a
Okay.
way in. Okay,
Right.
and that's why you get so many possessions and things like that. Okay, so the ectoplasm it's almost like a lubricant, and it's almost like their way of gaining that energy that they need and coming through into this plane without actually having to take over a body in a possession.
Right, Doc Savage is asking.
Yeah.
How have you seen it, and how did it appear?
It appears as a residue. Okay, I've seen it on a bed. I've seen it on a kitchen side. I've seen it on a wall. It can appear anywhere. It can appear on the ceiling. It doesn't necessarily come from the human body, but 9 times out of 10 you'll find it, somewhere on an
Okay.
object rather than from a person themselves.
Obviously, you can't go through the exact details.
Why you would need ectoplasm coming out of somebody's face, I don't know, because
Right.
it's not. it's not needed when they take possession of a person.
Right, so basically, let's go back to that particular period, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So, not the particular time you saw it. Obviously, we don't want to know the ins and outs because 9 times out of 10 you can't tell us that. But there's this woman sitting there, or bloke, in a trance, I assume, and all of a sudden, this stuff appears out of some orifice of the face. Right? Is it always out the mouth? No, but it can come out the ears. That's why I'm asking.
No, I've seen pictures of it's coming out from behind the ear, coming out from the neck.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, I'm assuming that's what we're looking at. We're looking at a person in trance.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
Supposedly, the person in trance is allowing this entity to come out of their body. But what they're showing, or what they're trying to show, is the ectoplasm coming out of their body first, through the mouth, the nose, the ears, whatever. Okay, and that's what they're trying to get a photograph or photographic evidence of.
Right.
Okay. But it was all faked because nobody could get a photograph of it because it doesn't happen. You wouldn't need ectoplasm coming from a person.
So you're saying this particular ectoplasm you saw, you don't believe?
Yes, I do believe.
Oh, right.
But I don't believe the ectoplasm from the Victorian photographs.
No, I'm on about what you've seen.
No, what I've seen, I believe, yeah.
Right, this is what I'm asking.
Yeah.
You've seen this woman, she's gone in a trance, blah, 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 blah.
No.
Whatever.
No, I thought you were on about the Victorian photographs.
No, I'm on about the one you saw.
No, the ectoplasm I've seen is from poltergeist activity and from other forms of things that I've been to
oh, right. So it's not exactly from trance.
No, most of the ectoplasm I've seen is from when I've worked in the black art stuff. So,
right.
And exorcism work and stuff like that. So no.
Nigel says it's been seen has been found after UFO sightings. Doc Savage, I have to call him Doc because we've got so many Johns, and we know that we mean him in America. Neil, now is in my house. We have a very clear liquid substance. It had a very oily base to it, and it was void of any taste. Oh, it just jumped. Would this be the same thing?
It hasn't got an oily base. Well, saying that, when you actually touch ectoplasm, it does give an energy off. So you'd know straight away that this was ectoplasm. If you were sensitive. And what happens is this is why I'm saying it's a bit like KY jelly. There's no oil in it, but it is like a lubricating water that will stay on your fingers. Okay, but it will. If you rub your fingers, disappear after a while. But I wouldn't say it was an oil.
Okay. Right. So. Right. Okay. Any other questions about this before I move on?
Yeah, Joe said it. She imagines it being a bit like silly putty.
Silly putty.
That's a bit too solid.
What's silly putty?
Doc Savage said. And it happened right about after paranormal events.
Sorry?
Sorry, John said it happened right after paranormal event. Yeah, that it was. I don't know what that means. I mean,
I know what Doc's on about there,
yeah.
Well, I've got one. I mean, it would seem that ectoplasm actually comes from the medium. Then is it his life force that's or energy that's doing it, or not?
Right. If a physical entity was to come into our plane, it needs a certain amount of energy to come through. Without that certain amount of energy, it can't come through. It's incapable. Okay, the ectoplasm is charged to that amount of energy that it needs. So it wouldn't need a physical body to come into this plane. So why a medium would have ectoplasm on them, I've no idea, because they would have that amount of energy in them, and that's why you get possessions, because they possess the body to be able to come into our Earth plane. So they wouldn't need ectoplasm.
I see.
Okay, so I've never ever seen ectoplasm come from a medium ever. Not in my history.
Not even doing
the
séances and stuff like that.
Andy says.
I mean, go on.
What does your guest? His name's Neil. He's been on before. Neil Munnerley, medium. You've spoken to him before. Mean by dark stuff. And Aggie said. It is supposed to appear at the exorcism process only. Sorry, she's just missed part of the conversation. And if you, Nigel said, if you stick your fingers together with super glue and quickly pull them apart, it looks a bit like that. Try it. And Nigel's just told Andy you're Neil Mahogany. Right, but Andy's saying what do you mean by dark stuff? And is it really on the exorcism progress, or can you see it other times?
9 times out of 10,
Right.
I've actually seen ectoplasm within the exorcism process.
Right. Okay.
Because when we talk about the black stuff, I mean, I used to work a lot within demonology and things like that, and I did 4 years worth of exorcism work for the High Church of England. So we did deal a lot with dark forces, what we call dark forces, and the occult and everything else, and that's just what I meant by the dark stuff.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
No, it's not a great deal. You can talk about that, but that's
right. But it's so. Me too, as you guys know. Do you think they are possessed then?
Who?
These
people that have ectoplasm coming out of
them.
No, if they were possessed, they wouldn't have ectoplasm coming from.
Okay.
Ectoplasm's found on solid objects like walls and ceilings and beds and.
It's like throwing the spaghetti up to test it.
Well, yeah, it's like it's a bit like Nigel the portal. It's like a portal.
Yeah.
You know, it's a portal that they will come through. So it's an ectoplasmic portal that they're coming through, if you want to call it that or something.
Bit of a two-folded question here. No, sorry, I realised what she meant. Reiki Debs, that was. Do you think that they are possessed, the people that you've carried the exorcisms on?
If they weren't possessed, I wouldn't do an exorcism.
Right, there you go, Debs. Okay. So.
But I was reading something on this ectoplasm.
Yeah.
And not only was they saying that it can come from the sitters as well as the people getting the readings in these séances, but also that it in some cases it doesn't have a colour.
Yeah.
But also when you're hearing the rap, you know, the old tap on the table, that it is that's doing it. It's spirit coming through the ectoplasm and shifting the table.
Ectoplasm wouldn't come from a person. That's my belief. I mean, that's my opinion. That's my belief. That's what I've been taught, and that's what I've been told, and everything else. So that's the first thing. The tapping. Why would tapping come from ectoplasm?
I don't know. They were basically saying on this website, and a lot of it was from people from the 1950s and way back doing stuff on it, that it's spirit coming through ectoplasm that's doing the noise and stuff.
See, ectoplasm.
They were basically saying spirit can't come through unless there's some form of ectoplasm.
Ectoplasm is linked with the lower form of energies. Okay, so the bad stuff.
Right.
The simple reason is because the bad stuff aren't allowed to come into our plane. So it's their way of finding a way through. Okay, so they would use ectoplasm to come through without any form of permission.
But where does that come from?
What, ectoplasm?
Yes.
It comes from it could be from moisture in the room. It could be from moisture in the air. It could be moisture from people's bodies, and it's collectively drawn together in that kind of state.
So basically,
and it's thrown together with all this psychic energy.
So basically, some of the spirits that are actually seen, could be coming through ectoplasm from the room.
Yeah.
I've also got another question here. Did you ever work on anything at St Paul's Cathedral?
Who's asking?
Andy Mercer. And he also wants to know, how do you know this?
How do I know?
And about what can and can't come through.
How do I know this? Okay.
Obviously, you can't go into too much detail with the exorcism.
I know, yeah.
St Paul's thing first.
Right, St Paul's, I have done a couple of things there, but can't talk about it. The second thing, I've been involved in the spirit world now since the age of 4, and I have a very, very good guide who's been with me all the way through, and I also have a number of other guides who I have trained with and used for training and things like that. I do teach on the subject as well, and I've been doing this professionally now for over 20 years.
Right, he said
a lot of the stuff that I get told comes from them above. You know, I get told from my guide. My guide tells me a lot of the information that I come through. Now, not forgetting, you don't have to believe a word that I'm saying. It's only my opinion. It's only what I've been taught and what I've been told by my guide. So do with that information what you want to do.
And you were saying, was there an exorcism?
No, he said there was, and he said he can talk about it. He will talk about it.
Yeah.
And who pays you? if you're professional?
Who pays me?
If you're professional, who pays you?
Well, no one pays
Well,
you.
no one pays me.
Because you don't
Because
charge.
I don't charge. So
Not for that sort of thing anyway.
no.
No.
I mean, you do for your readings, but that's...
I do for readings.
That's all
but
on a one-to-one.
Yeah, it's just the one-to-one.
Not asking there was.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. No, yeah, there was an exorcism at St Paul's.
There's been more than one exorcism.
Yeah,
If you want to go into that subject, yeah. There's been a few exorcisms at St Paul's. There's been a few exorcisms at quite a number of cathedrals around the country.
We do a lot of rescue work with Neil, and we've done a lot of visiting with people that think or are being pestered or visited by paranormal entities or spirit or whatever you want to call them, and not once has Neil opened his hand for any money, asked for it, or even take it. Even if it's offered, he's always refused. When even for petrol money, he hasn't even said, well, thank you very much. So I must say he's one of the few mediums that I've ever met that isn't prepared to actually take money for that sort of thing. So, okay.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Andy was saying that he worked at St Paul's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if he was there during this time, you might have actually met him.
I might have done.
Might have done. So on some cases I've heard about, Neil, where walls have dripped with blood-like fluid. Would you say this is ectoplasm? No, I'd say that's a film you watched. I remember that film.
It's not. It
The
doesn't.
house that dripped blood or something.
No,
wasn't it?
no. I mean, you see it on films where it's oozing through the wall and things like that. But it's not like that. It could be. It usually comes out. It's small bits of residue. It's little stains. It's little spills. It's not huge amounts that you get. It's not.
So let me just go back to a couple of things, statements here.
Could it be confused to when people have said that they've had water dripping from the ceiling, from lights, and so? Yeah. Could that be ectoplasm and not water?
That could be ectoplasm, not water. Yeah. I mean, you've got to think about the ectoplasm. I mean, if you look at most hauntings.
Notice you said could.
Yeah. If you look at most hauntings in houses, yeah, they will always involve water or electricity. So the lights will start flashing, or electrical objects will start breaking down, or batteries will run out. Okay, that's the energy being drawn from electrical.
No, that's you nicking the bloody thing.
Yeah. Well, and the water again, it's energy. They draw energy from water. So you combine the two. Yeah, that's like a very high voltage battery for spirit.
Right.
Okay.
I just want to go back on a couple of remarks that were made about you here from the same person.
Yeah.
Nigel said when Andy was asking who you were, he said one of the best mediums I've had the privilege to have known. Very nice guy and very true from the heart, the genuine thing. And he's come back and said Neil is a true light worker. He is a genuine article, and I'm very blessed to have met him. Give him a big round of applause, everyone.
Now, I will say about Nigel, we did spend a bit of time together down in the cellar in Morecambe on a little bit of an invest. Now, Nigel tapped into something that he shouldn't have done, and he actually told me. I'm not going to say it over air, but he actually tapped into something that nobody has ever made a connection with me before, because I always hide that fact. But what I will say, Nigel, and I don't know whether you've felt any of this, but there is a connection between me and you. I feel that we've worked before in another life, and there is something coming up this year that's going to involve me and you, and I'm sort of trying to do a bit of homework on it at the moment, but there is something that we've got to do in the future that's going to make a bit of a change, but as I progress with that, I will keep you informed. So I don't know if you've picked up on any of that, Nigel.
Right, okay, a couple of things here that have been coming on since I came back to that. And it says, there was that rather famous case where the blood-like substance was seen and tested. He then carries on to say, 2 seconds, it jumped up, I've lost it, hold on, that's what I hate about this. Good for Neil, he said, about you not charging. So, involved. Bear with me, guys.
Yeah, I mean,
right.
And whilst he was looking, Andy said, "Look, why can't you talk about certain things?"
Okay. Why can't Neil talk about the certain things? What would happen?
There's certain rules that I have to agree with to work with. The people that I work with in the spirit world are quite high up. Now, I'm not trying to blow any trumpets or anything, but they are quite high up. They have to work by rules. Those rules are passed down to me. There's certain regulations that I have to work with, and there's certain processes that I can't talk about, because if them processes got to normal people out there and they started trying these things, all hell would let loose, to be honest. But there's certain things that I have to stick by.
That's his principles.
It's a bit of a code of
Yeah, that's the principles he sticks with, as well as other things. Yeah. So
and Nigel says they're absolutely true, mate. He's looking forward to it.
Yeah, and Hannah said, what about her?
You're quite welcome.
American case, the substance was like blood plasma. It was American case, that one.
Mm-hmm. It can be. I mean, when we talk about blood plasma, there has been certain cases that I've seen where it has been a slight red tinge, and it has looked like a blood plasma. But most of the time it is clear.
Right, okay.
So that could be.
Right, okay. Right, I just want to go on to these other Victorian science tools and technologies. Okay, obviously you've got the mediumship, the trance and channeling. The mediumship is an act it says here, where the practitioner attempts to receive messages from the spirit of the dead and other spirits that the practitioner believes exist. Some self-ordained mediums are fully conscious and awake while functioning as contacts. Others may slip into a partial or full trance or an altered state of consciousness. These self-called trance mediums often state that when they emerge altered state of conscience, when they emerge from a trance state, they have no recollection of the messages they conveyed. It is customary for such practitioners to work with an assistant who writes down or otherwise records their words. Now, you do this, do you?
I do.
You are a trance.
I do trance work. I do physical work. I do transfiguration. I love working on the physical element because I get to spend some time up there on the spirit plane, which is good for me, and that's why we don't remember things. It's almost like being taken out your own body and allowing the spirit entity to enter your body and take over. So it's almost like being possessed, but in a controlled manner.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I was reading about, all those questions written down there, completely no good because you went, no, that's wrong in the first place. So, but
sorry, Steve.
That's all right. But one of these guys that was looking into all this, he's written 460 odd page booklet on it.
Yeah.
He was saying that he went to a trumpet séance.
Yes.
And apparently his ectoplasm came and voices came from the trumpet.
From the trumpet.
And actually turned into actual people.
Right.
Closed the whole lot.
Right.
Are you talking trumpets?
I don't know what kind of trumpet it is. I think it's an ear trumpet rather than a blowing trumpet.
The thing you've got to remember is, are these things that have been written in books, are they genuine? Are they true?
They're what these people that I was reading it from saying they actually seen it themselves.
Right. Well,
and the actual medium was a reverend somebody.
Okay. Well, when I first started to do physical, I used to sit in a physical circle.
Yeah, so I assumed they were talking about the spiritualist church, so they were working from there.
It could possibly be, yeah. But I sat in a physical circle for a good 2.5-3 years before I even delved into the subject, because I wanted to know everything about it before I set off on my quest to do what I had to do. And part of that circle did involve trumpet work, it did involve cabinet work, it did involve wet string around the circle, because they thought the energy would transfer quicker around wet string, and everybody had to hold this wet string. So there was lots and lots of stuff there. They always had a bell on the table, and the bell would ring. So there's lots and lots of things there, and all these things were painted with a luminous paint, so you could, because it had to be pitch black, obviously, with it being physical. So, but the trumpet work, I can sort of agree with that, because the trumpet can relay voices.
Yeah. Are we talking about an ear trumpet, not a blowing
Yes.
trumpet?
That's right, he's jumped
No.
ahead for...
That's what I was.
Yeah.
No, I was. I've read that. I was going for what I found.
All right, okay.
So if you've got it in there, then I apologise.
Yeah, it's in there. Basically, we've got spirit boards, obviously talking boards. They're now called spirit boards or a Ouija board.
Yeah.
Which can be made typically of wood, masonite, chipboard, or plastic, or what I used to do as a kid, load of letters around a circle with a glass. The board was used as follows: all of the participants in the séance place their fingers on the planchette, which is in the middle of the board. The appointed medium asks questions of the spirit with whom they are attempting to communicate. We have got a Ouija board that sometimes we use on investigations, but I don't find too many people can really get on it. I don't know why.
Well,
it just seems to be many or something. I don't know.
Ouija boards are funny things. You either like them or you don't. You know?
Yeah, well, a lot of people ask for them,
Yeah.
don't they? And we let them
Ouija
people
board
use
works in exactly the same way as glass divination, but you'll get more information from a Ouija board than what you would of a glass. But people connect the Ouija board as being a bad thing because they've heard so many stories from these
but like you say,
drunken teenagers that
using the glass with a yes/no
Yeah.
is exactly the same as using a Ouija board, but you
of
get
course
more
it is.
information.
You get more information from the Ouija
Yeah.
board. Yeah.
And all this opening and closing, and
hmm
people say, "Oh, you've got to have protection."
You've got to have protection in all of this game.
Yes.
You know, and opening and closing the Ouija board. Well, how would you open a Ouija board? Take it out of the box, maybe. Take it out of the
Yeah.
the packet. I don't know.
Well,
You
this
know,
is it.
opening and closing. What you're opening and
Yeah.
closing. You know.
Some people, if they want, they can say a protection prayer. It's probably something like
yeah.
that,
Yeah. I mean, no,
You
that's,
know, and you ask them specific questions, don't they? You don't just give them an answer give them a question where they can rule the answers. Sort of
no,
thing.
you've got to ask questions that will
Deliberate.
and get them to do all the work, get them to spell these things out, get them to give you dates and letters.
This
and
is it.
Yeah.
Right, trumpets, slates, tables and cabinets. During the latter half of the 19th century, a number of spiritualist mediums began to advocate the use of specialised tools for conducting séances, particularly in leader-assisted sessions conducted in darkened rooms. Spirit trumpets, as Steve mentioned just now, was a horn-shaped speaking tube that was said to magnify the whispered voices of the spirit to audible range. Okay, so obviously they'd have it here and what have you. The spirit slates consisted of two chalkboards bound together that, when opened, was said to reveal messages written by spirits. I don't know what they're writing, but
they're talking about. There was an old documentary.
Oh, right.
A few years ago now on.
I love Ouijas. I have a Ouija board, Ouija necklace, Ouija shoes, and Ouija t-shirt.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've seen a t-shirt.
Right. Seance tables were special lightweight tables which were said to rotate, float, or levitate when spirits were present. Now, have you seen this sort of thing happen with tables, like
Table tipping.
seance tables which actually float, rotate, levitate?
You can levitate a table in table tipping, in the table tipping sequence. You can actually get it off the floor. Depending on the energy that you're producing in that circle, because
but you do have to build
it is.
the energy up.
Of course you have, yeah.
Right, spirit cabinets. Now, we've
Dear
seen
me.
spirit cabinets on the TV.
Yeah.
In a box. I even know somebody who does it, but I can't remember for the life of me who they are, but I won't name them. But I did hear somebody or saw somebody who'd done it that was actually, I think it was advertised on the net or something, where they've got this thing and they bring this curtain down or whatever, where portable closets into which mediums were placed, often bound with ropes in order to prevent them from manipulating the various aforementioned tools. Now, cabinets. Fancy doing one?
There's absolutely no need for a cabinet whatsoever.
No.
No, not at all.
But is there a need to tie you to a chair?
Yes.
Well, the last time.
without getting kinky.
I think there is a reason to tie me to the chair, because obviously what happened last time. And people did think that I was walking around.
Yeah, we did an experiment where we had everybody in a more or less a horseshoe at one of our venues, and every now and again Neil does a trance medium session.
A demonstration.
Demonstration.
Yeah, where he's not actually picking up stuff from the building.
No.
He's showing people with these spirits that he works with.
Yeah.
What happens.
Steve sat next to him, facing the horseshoe of guests, and they were well away from him, a good 10-15 feet away from you, really, weren't they? And you went into your trance. Steve was there just to
At the battery,
keep the
battery backup
sort of thing, and he was there as the battery pack, but also to make sure everything was fine. And people actually thought that he was walking around behind them
and touching
them and everything else. People actually thought this, didn't they? And he hadn't even left his chair, but
yes, but when the lights came on, his chair was no longer right next to me. It was a foot in front.
Yes.
So the chair had actually moved forward.
Yeah. So that was quite weird. But it's
but
something that some like
I
us
do
like.
know that you hadn't actually got off the chair.
Yeah. So that was quite
Because
interesting.
being that close, I would have heard you actually get up.
So.
But having said that, I didn't hear the chair move.
So yeah, I mean, I do see the need to tie somebody up. I like being tied up anyway, but that's another story.
So
cabinets. I don't feel that there is any need for a cabinet. Okay, the cabinet was there again as a to stop people thinking, oh, the gimmick, and to stop the medium from.
But it leaves things open to speculation, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
I mean, the cabinet, what the medium's doing.
Yeah, a cabinet as well. It can enhance the energy that you're picking up on a physical basis. So it can enhance that and make you work a little bit better. But apart from that, there's no reason for it.
Can I just say, Jo's off. She's going to bed. She says, thanks for the dog in the KY jelly, the bone growth, and the bondage chat.
Good night, Jo.
I haven't even started yet, Jo.
I mean, Andy mentioned something about a famous medium being caught out with a trumpet.
Yeah.
Right. And I think I know who he means.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And I can't think what his name is. But I can't put it this way, I can't think what his name was at the time.
Yes.
Because he has actually changed his name before he come back.
Yes.
Right.
We can't really mention
he was actually behind the curtain, and these instruments are meant to be playing.
Yeah.
And some stagehands put the backlights on, so they actually saw him playing them himself.
Right.
So he actually left the field for a while.
And came back.
And came back with a different name.
Yeah.
Right.
And
I'm still doing the same thing.
And he has been doing.
He's been doing
quite
television
well.
work.
A lot of television work.
Yeah.
As far as I know, he hasn't been doing that anymore.
No.
Right.
He's been doing more television reading and stuff like that.
I think he's just moved out the country, hasn't he? To
Yes.
Europe somewhere. But anyway, the exposure of supposed mediums whose use
Not Spain, by the way, is it?
Yeah, and Andy just named him.
It's not Spain, is it?
Just outed him, Andy.
Well, old Nick.
There you go.
Right, as I was saying,
We shouldn't name drop, by the way. I don't think it's right.
The exposure of supposed mediums whose use of séance tools derived from the techniques of stage magic has been disturbing to many believers in spiritual communication. In particular, in 1870s, exposures of the Davenport brothers as illusionists and the 1887 report of the Seibert Commission brought an end to the first historic phase of spiritualism. Now, you know a bit about spiritualism and the spiritualist circle, don't you?
Yeah.
Stage magicians like John Neville Macklin and Harry Houdini made a sideline of exposing fraudulent mediums during the late 19th and early 20th century. In 1976, M. Lamar Keane described deceptive techniques that he himself had used in seances. However, in the same book, Keane also stated that he still had a firm belief in God, life after death, EFT, and other physical phenomena. And the exposure of fraud by tool-using mediums have had two divergent results. Skeptics have used historic exposure as a frame through which to view all spirit mediumship as ideally as fraudulent, while believers have tended to eliminate the use of tools but continue to practice mediumship in full confidence of its spiritual value to them. Now, I don't know what you think to that, but I know Harry Houdini did try to prove try and find. Was it his mother he was trying to contact?
Yeah.
And everyone he went to was a fraud, and,
Yeah.
and he outed them. I'm not sure of this other guy.
Mm.
But there's another one. You say you haven't heard of it. Has anyone ever heard of dactylomos? I'll try again. I said it all right earlier. Dactylomancy. It's from the Greek word for finger. Okay. I'm glad Joe's gone. In the term is a term used by prominents to define a form of divination using rings. Okay. So modern dactylomancy. In some traditions, a ring is suspended like a pendulum above a surface that is marked with letters or symbols. The direction of the swing indicates which symbol are to be consulted and which letters are to be formed into a message in answer to a specific question. Another tradition follows the same pattern as séance table rapping. It is a ring. A ring is suspended from a tumbler so that it may touch the sides if swung, and a code is agreed upon, for example 1 yes, 2 no. A question is then posed and the number of the times that the ring strikes the side of the tumbler is interpreted as being an answer. It's also associated now with spiritualism and New Age beliefs rather parapsychology.
Sounds more like a doubting crystal.
I actually remember when I was a kid that it was actually used for determining whether you was going to have a boy or a girl.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Over a pregnant woman. Even today, parlour tricks such as Ouija boards have a huge stigma attached, which we know.
Yeah.
Hundreds of thousands of people can have claim to have witnessed extreme paranormal activity during the use of the Ouija. Yet there are virtually no hard evidence for any of this. Some skeptics often ask if there are people out there who have psychic abilities, why don't they use those powers to make money at casinos or the stock markets or win the lottery? And what's the answer to that, Neil?
Well,
I can answer that one.
There's only one answer to that, isn't it?
Personal gain.
We can't use it for personal gain.
Yeah.
It's against all of the codes and rules that we have to abide by.
Yeah. Yeah,
But is that not a cop-out?
No, not very good.
No, it's not a cop-out.
The thing is,
not at all.
You can earn enough to make a living, you just can't...
Yeah, but you think about it, right? The skeptics out there would say it's a cop-out. If I asked you for the lottery, and you sat there and say, I'm not allowed to do it because it's personal gain, yeah, could a skeptic, I'm thinking of some skeptics that would turn around
I know
and say...
I know what you're about to say. I can say, Neil, tell me the lottery numbers. You ain't getting that all, but I'm keeping it.
No, it's not that.
That way, it's not your personal game, it's mine.
Yeah, I know, but the thing
but you're still personally gaining from it as well.
Yeah, but you're not.
From his...
yeah, but you are.
But you're not breaking the rules because you're not getting the gain.
See, things like lottery and
Good night, Helen.
Things like that.
Good night.
People win these things, and it's the people who win these things that are supposed to win.
But there are actually mediums and psychics out there that do hold a checkbook to their name, don't they?
Of course there is.
You know what I mean?
Of course there is.
And they're doing well with it.
They're doing very well. But what you've got to think about is, if you're in this game and you do use it for your personal gain, it will come crashing down at you at some stage.
Right. Okay. So we've got a medium that's out there doing readings and getting money for it. Is that personal gain?
No, because you're allowed to earn a living.
Right.
You're not allowed to become rich, or purposefully rich from other people's losses or other people's bad luck or other people's demeanours. So that is the rule of thumb.
So Andy's asking, so what exactly stops him? Is it again the principal side, the fact that stops you from
doing
getting the
personal
numbers, getting the personal gain? Is it a case of...
If I was to break...
Is it a what do you call it? Not exactly a breaking or anything, but is it a respectfulness for the fact that you've got the gift?
Put it this way, if I was to break any rules that my guide has set me, my guide would just walk out on me and that's it, end of story. Right. That would leave me as a normal person.
Right.
I mean, Annie said, but wouldn't someone somewhere have won a great deal of money?
Wouldn't what?
Wouldn't someone somewhere win a great deal of money?
Oh yeah, of course they would. But look, we're getting into a whole different kettle of fish here.
And to their point, if there are 1 million, would they care if they guide
put it this way? Put it this way, and I'll just do this very, very quickly, and I'm not going to do it.
Okay.
I'm not going to go into great lengths. Right. everybody has a path
Yeah.
that they're given, that they have to live. It doesn't matter how many times you veer off that path. It doesn't matter how many times you try and change that path. You will have to stick to that path. So if you veer off it, if you try and change it, you will be brought back. You will still have to walk that path.
Right.
Okay. We live in a cycle. Okay. We live in a 3-year cycle. Okay. Some people will understand what I'm talking who are on the chat room right now. That 3-year cycle, it comes round every 3 years. Okay. So we're given obstacles along this path. If we fail an obstacle, it will come round again in another 3 years.
Right.
Okay. It's a reoccurrence. It's the 3-year wheel. Okay.
Yep.
If I was to tell you the lottery numbers tomorrow and you go win the lottery and you win, I don't know, a couple of million quid, okay, that's just completely changed your path. What do you think will happen?
Well, someone's gonna bring
What
you
will
back
happen to you?
Somebody's bring you back.
What will happen to you?
Somebody's going to bring you back into
Have you?
into line, isn't it?
Do you know when you hear of these people winning the lottery and how it's ruined their lives?
Yes.
How
yeah.
bad it's been
Yeah.
for them. Yeah, that's the same thing. Okay,
Right.
I wouldn't want to put that on anybody.
No.
Okay, I'm not going to stand here and say, right, I'm going to change your path for you
No.
and go against every single rule that I believe in the spirit world, everything that I've been taught.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
For what? For me to come out as a normal person, for
Yeah.
them to ruin their life.
Yeah.
Right, I'm a bit mixed up here.
Why, what you
I'm
lost?
going to read the whole thing in one go. It might make more sense.
Okay.
Randy said, wouldn't someone somewhere have made a great deal of money
Yeah.
and said they did it psychically? Someone told Derek Akora about making money, so I'm kind of lost on that last bit.
Oh, right. He's basically saying that Derek Akora is making money out of it, so...
Yeah.
That's a personal...
Which he is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which he is. Yeah.
So,
But that's that again. It is.
it's his prerogative.
It's his prerogative.
Yeah.
And like I say, it will come down on you. at
I
some
think
stage.
it all...
might-
It comes down on everybody.
It might even be his path, so he's supposed
Yeah.
to. It's
Yeah.
supposed
But
to
the
be
thing
there.
with Derek, right, is he can go. Well, he has made millions, okay. But the thing with Derek, he will not move up any higher along that spiritual ladder. You know, my goal is to get as high as I can spiritually. Okay.
And he says, is it... Sorry. go on.
If he breaks them rules, if he's got this prerogative that he wants to carry on where he is, he will stay at that level. He won't grow spiritually. He won't have that growth around him.
He's asking, is there a big difference between communicating with spirit world and predicting the future? I think there is.
There is. Yeah,
Fortune
there is a
telling.
difference. Yeah.
So,
I mean, I'm not a fortune teller.
There's
there is
also a different way of doing things.
But there is things that I
Yeah.
can predict.
I mean,
Yeah.
your mum dreams about stuff, doesn't she?
Yeah, she has
And
prediction
and
dreams.
it scares the
she won't.
bejeebers.
She won't.
yeah, the bejeebers out there.
She hates me going around to her house even today because she thinks I carry the devil with me or something. But she's had that since childhood because I've brought a lot of things to the house when I was a kid.
in my opinion, when it comes to fortune telling,
Yeah.
it's... Take, for instance, tarot cards. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, tarot cards, if you're talking about the past,
Mhm.
right, you've got to get it spot on, more or less, ain't you?
Mhm.
Sort of thing. Well,
Yeah.
not more or less, but you've got to get it spot on. But when you start talking, this is what's going to happen in the future, it's not what's going to happen in the future. I think it's more about if you take this path,
Yeah.
this could be a choice for you to
Mhm.
take. You know, but if you don't take this path, but this is the way the cards are telling you, if you take this road, but it's not giving you another choice. It's just saying this could happen in the future if you
Yeah.
take this path.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you can actually think to yourself, well, I don't want to do that, I'll do something else. But it's not at the time of being told.
Yeah.
It's at the time when it comes.
Yeah.
You know, you could sit, but it's like your stars in the... Some people believe in the stars, some people don't. But if you was to read your stars and you go, oh, that was in the stars yesterday. I didn't believe it or whatever, you know, and stuff like that. So I think it's a case of, it's a guide more than anything. That's my opinion.
There's an old saying: we can't change the past, but we can change the future.
Yeah.
Okay. Which we can. We can
Yeah.
change the future, but only to a certain limit.
Yeah.
Again, we've got to stay on this path that they've given us,
Mm.
and it doesn't matter how many times you veer off that path; it will still be there, and you will be brought back, and you will start again.
Yeah.
Okay. Go back on the 3-year wheel.
Yeah.
Repeat. That's what your life will be if you try and go against the grain.
Yeah.
Okay. But there are certain things you can change. You know, certain things I could tell you. Oh, you can have a house move in a year. Okay, but you can change that. Well, I'm not going to move in a year. I want to move in 2 years. So you can change that yourself.
See, most of the future bit that you're predicting,
Yeah.
it's not what's going to happen. It could be a subconscious question you've asked.
Yeah.
And that's giving you an answer of what may happen if you went that way.
The stuff that I predict it's important stuff that I predict. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get into this too much because I'm like I say, I'm not a fortune teller. But I predict on mainly stuff that has to be how do I put this? No, not watched. But it's stuff that has to be actually gone through for them to learn and for them to grow. Okay. Now, a lot of stuff that you come to, a lot of obstacles nowadays.
Yeah.
That you will face. All depends on a decision that you make. Okay, so you could take one decision or another.
Yeah.
Okay, you could go either way, you could sway either way. Okay, and that's what I mean by you could change your future. Okay, but you're not really changing anything because you're still staying on the same path. You're just not making a decision on that option. Okay, but if you don't go through that obstacle the way you're supposed to go through it, it'll come back at you another 3 years down the line, and you will have to do it again until you get it right. Okay.
Yeah, Aggie's just said on there she was told by a tarot reader that she won't be with her partner for very long, and 11 years down the line they're still together, but it really freaked her out.
Well, I must admit,
it's a bit daft saying stuff like that.
Yeah, I always vowed I'd never pick up a pack of cards again, right? And I'll be truthful with you. Back in 1989, 1990. It was after we got married, wasn't it? I fell pregnant. And I used to play with tarot cards, and I did the Celtic cross, and it said that I was going to have a child. Well, it mentioned a child, a new life sort of thing in, I think it was February. So then I thought I'd do the clock face, and that said December. And I thought, well, it sounds to me as though it's contradicting itself, and this was in November, late October, November time, and I didn't go full term. So to me, it was maybe giving me a warning, I don't know, but I vowed because of that I'd never pick up a pack of cards again. But I have done in the last year. But that stopped me, and that was back in 1990. So maybe there is something in cards, I don't know. But like Aggie, it frightened the blooming life out of me. So, but you never know. Well, anyway, we're going to stop this subject now. Maybe come back to it another time. Okay, so
we're only touching the tip of the iceberg here.
We are.
This is only.
Maybe we can continue talking about this next week.
Definitely.
After we've spoken to our.
So that means I've got to come.
It does. Should we get him back next week and then have more?
You sneaked that one in, didn't you?
Oh yeah.
The thing is with readers, there are so many people out there that think they know what they're doing.
Precisely.
And they don't.
No.
They think, pick up a pack of cards, read the book, here we go, that's your future.
Yeah.
It's not all about what the cards mean, it's what your guides are telling you, that particular card in that position for that particular person.
What you've got to think about, and I'll just say this quickly. Tarot, okay, was actually introduced as a game, okay? It was like a game of cards, okay?
Well, the Italian playing cards are tarot cards.
But as we've progressed and as we've started learning into this absolutely fantastic subject, okay, tarot can be used as a great learning tool to learn clairvoyance.
Right.
Okay, and it is the building block of clairvoyance. Okay, everybody who is going through being taught clairvoyance start on tarot cards because it's the only way to build on that. It's a building block. Okay, it's a foundation.
Okay, well I'm going to stop you there because everyone wants you back. I said yes, great conversation.
In the great words of Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back.
Yes, get Neil back, Nigel said. Yes, says Andy. Okay, we want Neil back, says Andy. We do, says Debs. Bring him back and Ghost Town too. No.
Yes, I want Ghost Town back as well.
Reiki Debs said, teach us all. So I know you're on about doing some courses soon. Aren't
yes,
you? So
yes.
we'll sort
I'll definitely be doing something.
It's unfortunate that Debs
too
is over
far
in
away
Huddersfield.
from her, but we'll sort something out.
That's
anyway,
a fair distance.
Yes. So because it's getting late. It's going to be 11 o'clock. Again, yeah, we haven't even finished yet. We've still got a load more to get on with.
I could talk the legs off a donkey.
You could do. Yeah. So, but we'll have a bit of a break.
It actually makes a change for him to talk at all.
See, I'm not a whisperer.
No, he's not whispering tonight either.
Not when we get into a subject.
Reiki Deb said she's in Doncaster but can travel. We're in Manchester,
okay.
So it'll be up here somewhere. So can travel, will travel. No problem. Can put you up, we'll put you up.
And if need be, we've got a spare bed.
Well, anyway, so we're going to talk about haunted Bristol now. Is the music not too loud? Can you hear me okay? Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Your invite to come south is still open. Yes, I know, Andy. We will sort something out when the warmer weather gets us, and when the money's a bit better for the tank. Right, okay. Haunted Bristol, guys and gals. As featured in TV's Most Haunted, a fun tour around Old Bristol and its ghostly buildings includes a 16th century church guarded by a monk, a haunted coaching inn visited by Oliver Cromwell, and a haunted 17th century pub where Daniel Defoe was a regular. But an area inhabited for thousands of years, ghosts are said to be abounding and around Bristol. Headless coachmen, Nazi airmen, medieval soldiers, they have the lot. And it says here, some are a little more than a chill at the back of the neck, others are rather more solid. Whether they really exist or a figment of drink, tiredness, superstition or simple imagination, we'll let you decide. Okay, these are just a few that I found. There was quite a few there actually. The first one is on the A38 Barrow Gurney Reservoir near Bristol. The spirit, he knows that one. A spirit of a departed life has almost caused others to lose theirs when it suddenly walks out in front of them on the A38 southwest of Bristol. Many people have reported exactly the same experience, which it is typified by the first witness. This young man was driving along the road when all of a sudden a lady in a white coat appeared to be crossing the road just in front of him. He slammed on his brakes and skidded across the road, luckily managing to keep control of the car. When he came to a halt, he realised that there was no one there. He went to investigate that bit of the road and found that there was lots of skid marks in exactly the same spot. Indeed, several other people have since come forward to say that they encountered the same lady on that stretch of road. So if you're in that area, be careful. Okay? Have you? You are now.
I've actually been down that stretch of road and seen the skid marks.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, you'll see so many skid marks. And it's a certain patch.
Yeah.
But I was travelling up the M6 in the late 90s, and I hit a woman on the M6 doing 90 mile an hour, and I could actually feel the jolt of the car as I hit it. And I could actually see her in the rear view mirror land on the motorway. So as I pulled over, I jumped out obviously because I thought I'd killed her. Nothing there. No damage to the car, nothing.
Sorry, I was playing the wrong version. I can get reprimanded with the other one.
You wasn't playing the ultra slow version?
No. So you've been there, yeah? Good. So you can collaborate that one.
Not only that, he's actually hit the spirit himself.
Good.
Not that particular one.
Not good, but... did you see that from Nigel, by the way? He wants to know how Chelsea did.
Yeah, I've answered him.
Right. Neil, I'm also a full medium. Hello! Here in the States, and I share the same view as you. I would like to talk to you in the near future about your views on a few things. That's Doc
absolutely
Savage.
Fine, Doc.
I'm assuming that's Doc Savage,
no
or was
problem.
that Anita that just popped in? So, okay, Duchess. This one's a bit intriguing actually, because I found two stories on this. I found one on the Paranormal database. I found one further on, so I'm not sure whether it's connected or not, but it says the same lady. Okay. Recurring every December, the exact date is unknown, in the area around Duchess Lake, now filled in, and Dower House, the ghost of the Duchess of Beaufort, that is the right one, Elizabeth Somerset is said to ride around the area. A local legend says that if you wait near her monument, 3 knocks will signify her presence. Okay? Another story tells us that in Vassals Park, Fish Ponds, Bristol, this spirit has been seen by a lot of people over the years as they've gone through the park. 2 teenagers were halfway across the footbridge in the park that leads over the River From, when they saw the hooded figure dressed in a cloak with its arms outstretched. They couldn't make out a face or feet, and the figure gave the impression that it was floating. After moving a little way onto the bridge, the spirit turned around and vanished into the wall just past the end of the bridge. Other teenagers from the same youth club went to revisit the spot for the next few nights and saw an inexplicable white light floating near the wall where the figure had disappeared. A lady went with others to check out the spot, and they reported hearing monks chanting. Could this be the same Duchess? But there are controversy about her death too. One says she fell from her horse and broke her neck. Another says she was struck by lightning. Maybe she was on her horse at the time. Who knows? So there's that one as well.
Yeah, sorry about the laughing there, but Neil suddenly discovered that he was tied up with the mic lead.
Mic lead was actually wrapped round my leg. I don't know.
He hasn't got a clue how he did that.
No,
The conversations we've had tonight,
I think it was something
surprised.
to do with the bondage subject earlier on.
There isn't much on this one, but there's an evil dwarf highwayman. Did you know that? Jenkins Prothero was a dwarf highwayman who begged for money and then held up and robbed passers-by who didn't give enough. Jenkins was hanged in 1783 at the top of Pembroke Road. He still haunts the area. Anyone remember Edward II?
I'm not quite that old.
Famous. He remains famous for one thing above all others: the grisly manner of his death. I'll sort that out in a minute, Andy. The king's son of Edward I proved to be something of a disappointment to his family, who conquered Wales for the English and was given a bloody nose by the Scots. Didn't know that. Edward II was a weak king who handed a good deal of his powers over to the English noblemen, but even that didn't help him in the end. He was horribly tortured at Berkeley Castle in Gloucestershire, but only died when a red-hot poker was thrust up his rectum. You knew that was coming, didn't you? It was reported at the time that his screams could be heard as far away as the village of Berkeley, and sometimes his screams can still be heard. The castle, still owned by the same family as it was then, is open to the public, and a part of it is preserved in the style of the day as Edward's cell, although it can't be proved that this room is where he met his death. But Edward II has been made subject of a play, which has also been performed at the Great Hall in Berkeley Castle. So you knew about this, did you? Where he had it up and... Yeah.
Now you know why old Clive said they don't like it up.
Nor do the Turks, apparently.
No.
So, right, okay. Does anyone ever know, or has anyone ever heard of Elliot O'Donnell? There's a name to conjure up. He was born in February 27, 1872 and died May the 8th, 1965. Okay, here's a little bit of history for you. He was an Irish author known primarily for his books about ghosts. Okay? And if you go on to the into the discussion area, into, I think it's ghost hunting, I'm not sure now, but I have put some links to some e-books that you can go to read as well. He claimed to have seen a ghost described as an elemental figure covered with spots when he was 5 years old. He also claimed to have been strangled by a mysterious phantom in Dublin. He was an extraordinary man, and later in life he became a ghost hunter. In fact, he was the first of the great media star ghost hunters. but his fame has been largely eclipsed by Harry Price. Yet he was in his day a household name on both sides of the Atlantic. So his name's Elliot O'Donnell.
Wasn't Harry Price a fraud as well?
Yeah, but he's still been eclipsed by him. In other words, Harry Price is more famous for some reason. Sometime in the 1940s, he was called on to investigate a case in St James Parade. The Britton's family living here reported hearing strange taps and footsteps, while Mrs Britton fainted after seeing the face of an old lady moving towards the cot of her child. The haunting is said to have stopped when the family were rehoused. And as I say, you may read more about Elliot's life over on our forum pages after the show. Quite interesting, actually, and his works, werewolves and Scottish ghosts. There's quite a few there, and a couple of the books I've actually pulled down so that I can read them. Okay, my final ghostly tale. Are you ready for this? Tonight is about a ghostly lady in black who walks the stones crying this is in I haven't even put where it is. It's at a graveyard in Bristol, Argon Court or something. She forgot to put that bit on, but she's a ghostly lady in black who walks the stones crying because of her dead husband she lost in First World War. The ghost has been known to sit and speak to people who are in need of guidance. Another screaming spectre is said to be a lady who was buried alive and awoke from her coma to find herself in a coffin and promptly died of shock. The mistake was not realised until the body was exhumed many years later. Now that is something I personally have always been scared of. To actually be buried alive. Somebody, you get people who think they're dead, or that they have all the medical proof. They're not breathing on the glass or whatever. They are dead, and they end up not being. It's some sort of.
It leads back to the old Victorian times when you used to have a bell.
Yeah.
I had to do a resistance to interrogation course in the forces. One of the little tricks they play on you is they actually bury you alive in a tin box. And
they actually do that in Masons.
And you get drove out to this location, and you're actually wearing a hood, and they stick you in this tin box, and then they put you in a hole, and bury you, and the only thing that goes through your mind is how long I'm going to be here, how do I conserve breath, are they going to find me when they come back? So you've got all this kind of stuff going on.
But isn't that
you're not actually
trust?
But you're not actually buried. So when they pull you out of the box, you're actually just laid on the ground. They've just thrown soil over the top of you.
And the Mason thing is a trust thing. It's
there's a trust.
It's not actually being buried either. Yeah. They don't even actually put the lid on.
No, that graveyard, by the way, is Arnos Court graveyard. By the way, I just found it. So
Ricky Debs says that's why she wants to be cremated.
Apparently, I'm being cremated. He's already sorted it.
Well, I mean, if you're being cremated for that reason, if you're not dead, you're in for one hell of a shock when the flames hit you.
Oh yeah, you are.
So
this is it.
Either way, you're going to suffer.
Yeah. So this is it. That must be something really scary, though. There are people that have actually got this condition, isn't it? Whereas they do actually go out for the count for a while.
Isn't that where the expression for whom the bell tolls comes from?
Is that?
Yeah.
So.
And there used to be grave sitters, and unfortunately, some of them used to fall asleep or go off to the pub.
Yeah, that's right. They used to have. Am I right in thinking they used to have a string down there, and they'd leave it attached to a bell above the graveyard, and if there was a problem, they'd ring the bell. Yeah. So, is that what they call it, Andy? Narcolepsy. It sounds it. Yeah, narcolepsy. So. Don't know the story of Bloody Mary, to be honest with you, apart from the set. Can't say it 3 times in the mirror. So. Oh, right. I'll have to have a look into that.
Which is why she's peeved.
So. But yes, very interesting topics tonight, I think.
Make sure they bury a badger with you.
Yeah, to help you dig yourself out.
And when you get to starving point, the badger will eat you.
Who is the other voice? The other voice is Leanne. She's been spectating tonight, and that noise is my chair. So, just in case you heard that. So, but
or eat the badger, says Greenlee.
but yeah, it's been an interesting topic tonight, isn't it? There's been UFOs and John Hanson's new book, Haunted Skies, Volume 7. Not 8 that I thought it was, because when I looked on it, I'm probably looking at the wrong page.
No, 8's the one that's going to be in colour.
That's the one that's in colour, yes. And we've also talked about ectoplasm, Victorian séances, but there's more to come on this, isn't there, next week?
There's loads more to come.
So
the subject's wide open.
Well, this is it. So have you got any more interesting ideas in this genre, you know, about the Victorian séances, the tarots,
Go
or
on,
anything
Andy,
like that?
quickly.
You know,
Can I just say that it was Ghost Rider, John, that actually suggested the
yes,
ectoplasm one. So,
Whereabouts are you, Andy?
Essex.
Essex. It just so happens I've just took over a new job, which does take me down London sometimes. So possibly.
Spontaneous human combustion. Well, there's one that we can have a look on, but not for next week.
I wouldn't put that down as paranormal, I'm afraid.
No, I wouldn't.
No.
No, I'll be honest with you.
No, that's people smoking in bed and...
Do you think so?
It is, yeah.
Do you really think so?
I do, yeah.
No, never in a million years.
This could be a small topic that
There
we
is-
could be
there
covering
is-
in the
no,
future.
but
There is no,
I mean,
in some cases there is a condition where the fluids in the gut can actually get to a certain temperature that people have said, it's set fire to the inside of the stomach. There has been conditions like that, but spontaneous human combustion, no, I wouldn't.
Yeah. The reason I say it's not cigarettes
Mm.
is because the amount of heat it takes to dissolve a
Oh,
human
yeah.
body,
Yeah,
and yet only that part of the room is burnt.
yeah.
Everything else is maybe a little bit scorched, but it's
Mm.
intact.
Mm.
And the heat it would take to destroy a human body would completely destroy a room.
I was actually joking when I said smoking.
I don't care.
Breaking Deb says it's been a big topic.
I still get to say my point, so I don't care.
But there is actually a condition that raises the thermobolic temperature
Pardon?
in the stomach.
Can you say that again, please? A bit closer to the mic.
Thermobolic temperature within the stomach.
Thermobolic temperature.
And it actually gives the feeling that the stomach's going to explode in flames. And it does raise the body temperature quite
a bit.
Yeah, but only in the stomach.
Nigel said I had the back of my throat burnt by acid last year and smoke came from it, honestly.
Ooh.
Why would you put
Why are you drinking acid?
Yeah, that's what I like to go. So, but I ain't even going to ask that
Was
question. John?
Was that a reflux, Nigel?
It could have been, yeah. Because even when I sometimes it
acid from the
burns.
stomach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awful, isn't it? I suppose that could build up, really. Maybe. So, but before I got into all this and I first heard about it, I thought to myself, you have definitely got to pass wind. Because all that methane gas building up inside you.
Well, I mean, if you think of the gas and then you think of the thermobolic temperature,
Yes.
and
You know, and the
acid,
acid in the stomach.
there's a lot in there that can go bang.
There is a lot can go bang.
I don't know why I talk about these things sometimes, because you just like, you know.
Oh dear me.
I just know a lot about different things.
I did.
Why, I don't
Don't
know.
worry, Andy. I did. I know it started.
I think probably something to do with sat watching the BBC Two Learning Zone in the middle of the night because I can't sleep.
Well,
I used to like watching the documentaries on Sky.
so what do you reckon then, guys? Have you enjoyed it this evening? Has it been okay for you? Don't forget there are them links to have a look at, and you can put your views on the Facebook page for the topics we spoke to in observations tonight. What you think?
Just a quick one on Nigel. Did
Steve-
you actually get the smell of sulphur? No, I'm being serious. Did you actually get the smell of sulphur when the smoke came out the throat?
Nigel. So we'll wait for his reply on that. You can have a look on them links. The one regarding Steve Mera, there are actually some pictures about
yes, he did.
morphing pictures apparently of these daylight sightings, UFO sightings, and the answer was yes.
Yeah, that's actually linked with physical mediumship, believe it or not. You do actually get sulphur smell, which is like a bad egg smell. You do get quite a lot of reflux, quite a lot of acid, and you can get smoke sometimes, or what looks like smoke coming from the throat.
He said around this time I was cursed in the book.
Okay.
He'd been cursed by somebody.
So, and Andy said, I get bad acid reflux on medication for it, but never breathed out smoke. So, but yes, it's been a really interesting night, and next week...
And the silliest question ever is he a dragon in the Chinese?
Yeah. I wonder if he is. Probably not. So, but no, seriously, it's been a good subject tonight, and one that we will actually continue to cover next week.
A Medicare session.
Yeah. Well, Lee just said about a bad egg smell is also a way of recognising hydrogen.
I think we'll talk about thermogenic diets next week because yeah.
And your diet.
Well, no, I mean for good mediumship, you do need a good diet. Yeah. Believe it or not.
Well, we can continue the mediumship side of it next week, and also talk about tarots and divinations and stuff like that, and anything else that you can think of in this particular subject of the paranormal. So let us know on the Facebook page, and we'll get some bits together and we'll get sorting out and trying to talk about it. So
give us a shout.
Which is what it's all about. Give us your information. Tell us what you wanted to hear. Phone us up, Skype us on ktpf.paranormalshow. Don't be shy. Give us some questions, okay? We'll be having Andy Mercer back on the show in a month or so.
Getting back to horses again, look.
Okay, and so, and also, we've got Steve Mera coming back on soon, finding out what he's been up to since he's been away from us, and on the other show. And and Mark Rosney will be back in, and Tony Toppins coming back. So yes, it's all good fun. And I've also got a young man that's coming on that's going to be talking about Neil Arnold. His name is. I've got to work out when I can actually get him on the show. But just before I tell you what's on next week, this guy Neil Arnold, I think it's Neil Arnold or Nigel Arnold. I've been told he's a good speaker, but let me see, where are we? He's actually oh God, I've lost him. But he wrote a book concerning haunted skies and stuff like that. But we're talking more paranormal, more our paranormal, if you know what I mean. So so basically, we're going to try and get him on and see what we can find out. Oh God, that was a good one, wasn't it? But I'll let you know more about that in the future.
Yeah.
So,
who have we got next week?
Coming soon.
Next week, as I said, we have Richard Thomas. He's the writer of Paranews, UFOs, conspiracy theories, cryptozoology, and much more. I'll just let you know about Richard. He said this is where his bio thing is. Richard Thomas is a freelance feature writer specialising in 14 subjects. Richard has written for high street magazines, including Alien Worlds magazine, Paranormal magazine, and UFO Matrix magazine. He is also a blogger for UFO Mystic and Binal of America. In addition to writing about the paranormal and unexplained, Richard also writes a column entitled Big Day Out for the South Wales Evening Post. So it's not all paranormal, but in his book he does a gripping account of the very latest developments of the esoteric worlds of cryptozoology, I've got it on my head, conspiracy theories, ufology, paranormal investigations, and the bizarre. He covers the UFOs, ghosts and yetis, but what but we want to find out more about the wider shores of the paranormal, the conspiracy theorists, and downright bizarre. So, and in this book, one of the world's leading and most prolific paranormal bloggers takes readers on a voyage of discovery like no other ever written. So, we're going to find out more about that. He'll get him to explain about the JFK assassination, the shadowy and sinister Illuminati, maybe the influence of Bilderberg Group, allegations of insipid New World Order, stuff like that. So that's what his book, his key players were interviewed for a book. So we're going to see what we can find. So and take it from there. So until next week, hopefully you'll join us again, and we will see what we can find. Neil will be back, won't you? Yes?
I'll be back.
You'll be back.
And by the way, John, I don't smoke.
No. Neil's giving up smoking.
Yeah, he's on the vapors.
Yes. So, must tell you, listen to another radio show last week. It was good. I fell asleep. Oh well. Good show. Well, until next time, please stay safe. And please look out for any paranormal news and let us know about it. Email us at admin@ktpf.co.uk. Talk to us on the KTPF. And if you want to go onto the chat room on the FB, I'm sure Andy Merson will be there and a couple of us. So go on there and have a chat and post show chat on there. So until next time, good night and God bless. And keep the paranormal friendly.